Ladies and gentlemen, it is about time for NASCAR Championship Sunday at the Phoenix Raceway for the site of the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race on this Sunday afternoon. The season finale for all three series for the NASCAR ranks comes today. Four drivers come in with one hope of winning the championship. More than likely, that driver is going to have to go on and win the race here today as well. So we'll see who will do that. The four drivers battling for the championship, you might ask. Ryan Blaney, last week's winner at Martinsville. 2 weeks ago, Christopher Bell got in with a win at Homestead, and Kyle Larson with a win in the first race of the round of 8 at Las Vegas clinched himself in. The only driver to lock himself in on points was William Byron. Two of these four playoff drivers making their first Championship 4 appearance, and the other two making just their second appearance in the Championship 4. That of the likes of Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, and the first for William Byron and Ryan Blaney. You can vote for who you think will win the championship of those four drivers in the poll already in the chat. 50% of the 10 early votes have said that Ryan Blaney is going to win the championship today. 40% for Kyle Larson and 10% for Byron. No votes for Christopher Bell so far. You have until the end of stage 2 to vote there. For those of you wondering how long I will keep the poll up. And we've got some playoff discussion, obviously, to go through. There's just four drivers battling for the championship, so not going to be a very long pre-race show, but we're still going to fill up the half-hour time frame, to say the least. We'll talk about these four drivers and who I think will win the championship of them, who's got the best chance of winning the championship, ranked down to the fourth best chance of the championship four drivers for today. That would be both coming into the weekend and then what I think of based off of how they ran in practice and qualifying from yesterday as well. So let's get into this. First driver we're going to talk about is going to be Kyle Larson. He was the first to clinch himself into the championship 4. He led a lot of laps here in the spring race. Obviously, he's won this race before in 2021 with his only NASCAR Cup Series championship, got the win in the race as well. So he's got experience, obviously, one of only two drivers to even be in the championship 4. And this is just his second appearance. He did not make it last year, but this year a little bit more solid of a playoff run was able to get him in early in the round of 8. So they've had a little bit of extra time to kind of focus on their Phoenix Raceway car for this weekend. Will that come into play? It very well could, because in fact the last two drivers to win the NASCAR Cup Series championship, Joey Logano and then Larson in 2021, also won the first race of the round of 8. This has happened 3 times in the last, at least since 2018, that the driver to win the first race of the round would go on to win the championship. So it's kind of a 50-50% chance, so the odds might be a little bit heavier in the favor of Larson. When you consider the fact that Hendrick Motorsports dominated the race earlier this year, Larson did not get the win. He fell back a couple positions on a late race restart. William Byron, his teammate, was able to get the win that day in the spring and kind of capitalize off a mistake made by Kyle Larson in the late going. That has been the Achilles heel for Kyle Larson, maybe in his NASCAR Cup career, but especially this season, where he has dominated races, just can't seem to get his way to victory lane. I do think he's going to finish the race. I think he's going to lead laps, and I think he's going to run up towards the front for most of the day. But the question is can he stay up front throughout the rest of this race? That was something he was able to do in 2021, although he did fall back a little bit in the final stages. Pit crew was able to win him a late race off pit road with about 20 to go, and Larson was able to hold on to win the championship from there. It might have to be that kind of effort from the pit crew to bail Kyle Larson out once again here today. But even though that was the case back in the spring, I don't know that that'll necessarily be the case again for this one. So my chances for Kyle Larson to win the championship, he's not my personal pick. I'd probably rank him in between that second and third driver to win the title. I think based off the race car itself, he's probably going to have the fastest car, if not the second fastest car, that to only his teammate William Byron. It's just a matter of will the execution be flawless today for Larson. That's something that has not been very consistent throughout the course of the year, and that's why I'm staying away from picking him to win the title this weekend. He looked very fast, obviously qualified pretty far up in the running order for this one. I'll go through the practice results as well as the qualifying results. Qualifying for Kyle Larson, qualified in the 4th place position. He was 11th fastest overall in practice, but if we look at his lap averages in that practice session, he ran just outside the top 10, 11th fastest in the 10-15 lap averages, boosted up to the 8th fastest 20 lap average, and he did not make a run longer than 25 laps to time in on an average there. So not sure exactly what the long run speed is going to look like for Kyle Larson. Maybe not as quick as his teammate William Byron, and for that reason, again, all the reasons stated, basically, I'm not taking Larson to win the championship today. Next driver I'm going to talk about, I think, is probably one of the drivers I would have leaned towards potentially winning the championship coming in to the race weekend, but then based off of where they qualified, I don't feel as confident in that pick, and that's my guy, Ryan Blaney, my favorite driver, has a chance to win the championship for the first time in my lifetime. Being a NASCAR fan, I've never gotten to witness my favorite driver win a NASCAR Cup Series championship, so can he get it done here today? Coming into the race weekend, he has finished second in the last 2 Phoenix races. That's pretty good. That includes a championship race last year on this very weekend, and the spring race earlier this season. Now, in the spring race earlier this year, he actually ran top 10 for pretty much the entirety of the race. It wasn't quite like Larson and Byron up there contending for the win the whole race leading laps, but he was consistently between 4th and 8th place the whole day. That's not going to cut it to win the championship today, though, for Ryan Blaney. He's going to have to kick it up into another gear. He's going to have as good of a handling and speed race car as he did in last season's race of the fall, where he probably had the fastest car to his teammate Joey Logano, but finished in second, with Logano being the one racing for the championship, and Chastain closing quickly in those final laps of the race as well from 3rd place. Blaney didn't want to mess up Logano's chances of winning the title for Penske Racing. He didn't do that. I would imagine in the similar situation today, Joey Logano would do the same. The problem is these two drivers qualified outside the top 10. Logano starting back in the 17th place position. Ryan Blaney, most importantly, starting in the 15th place position. Blaney was the fastest of the Ford Championship 4 drivers overall in practice yesterday, and he actually had the fastest 20, 25, and 30 lap averages. So, sure, he didn't qualify well, but the long run speed seems to be very good for Ryan Blaney. And if that long run speed stays consistent throughout the course of the race today, he will be a contender. I just don't see him winning this thing when track position matters so much more, I'd say, with the next-gen car than what you see in the truck and the Xfinity Series. It'll be harder to pass today than what you saw in the races on Friday night and last night in the Xfinity Series Championship as well. And the reason being is because these cars are so equal. To coming from spec chassis, we've seen this throughout the course of the year, lap times from top to bottom. In the field on a lap-by-lap basis, it's just separated by really a half a second, if not just a little bit more than that, in the early laps of a run. And then as the tires start to fade off over the course of the run, you'll see a longer split in the lap times. That's why lap traffic really isn't coming into play early in the stage anymore. It's not until really after green flag pit stops if we have a long enough green flag run. If we do have long green flag runs in today's race, who can get through the lap traffic and get around that dirty air, the best is going to really have a big hand in winning this race today. So that's another reason why I'd lean towards track position being big, because if you're having to deal with lap traffic from 8th place, it's going to be worse than having to deal from lap traffic from 1st or 2nd place. I do think Ryan Blaney can get up into the top 5 and be in contention for the championship and the race win later in this race, just kind of like he was in the spring, but I don't see him having quite as quick as a car as he did last year. Last year on the speed charts, they had that early test session back in January because they hadn't raced the next-gen car competitively yet, and Phoenix was one of the racetracks that they were able to test on, obviously because of the warmer climate in Phoenix, Arizona. So with that test session, the Fords were fastest overall in that session, Ryan Blaney being the quickest of them. Spring race, Blaney had one of the quickest cars last season. Chase Briscoe was able to get the win in a Ford, and a Ford ultimately ended up dominating the race with Logano and Blaney in the championship race last year. Fords has not been as dominant at Phoenix this season, with the Chevys taking control, mainly Kyle Larson and William Byron, and that's why I'm not picking Ryan Blaney to win the championship either. Coming into the race weekend, I would have pegged him just a little bit behind Larson and Byron, and I still think that's the case here today as well. Christopher Bell, the only Toyota in the Championship 4 for Joe Gibbs Racing this weekend in his second straight Championship 4 appearance, the only driver that was in the Championship 4 last year that is in it again this season. Bell was never really in contention for the championship race win last year, kind of ran back half of the top 10 the entire race, and that was the case in the spring race earlier this year where he had a 6th place finish, but ran pretty much 6th or 7th for most of the day. Was looking back at where he finished in the stages where he qualified, and literally he was 6th or 8th in both stages, qualifying and the race finish. That's where he starts today, in the top 7 in the running order, a little bit behind the Hendrick Chevys. I don't think he's going to have quite the speed that the other 3 cars of the Championship 4 drivers will more than likely have today. So pit crew is going to have to be excellent for Byron to maintain track position, because it's going to be a tough time trying to pass those other cars around him, knowing that he probably doesn't have the race car to do it coming into the race today. They could make massive adjustments throughout the course of the race, but remember that this is one of the shortest NASCAR races of the season, So there's not going to be as many pit stops to be able to make adjustments. And with the time of day that this race is taking place at about noon, 12:30-ish local time at the drop of the green flag, that's going to lead to not as much track changing throughout the course of the day, as it will start in the early daylight and still end in mostly daylight as well. So with that being said, I don't have Christopher Bell winning the championship either, and I would probably peg him as the fourth of the four drivers in that order, at least, to win the championship based off of my odds for him personally. I think he's going to have a solid day. I think all the championship four drivers are going to run top 10 all day, but I don't see Bell being up there for the race win necessarily. And he actually qualified 13th. He was top 7 in practice, so I apologize for that. 13th place, so yeah, not even as good of qualified as I thought he did. Some of his other teammates, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. qualified top 10, 6th and 2nd, but Bell lacking behind just a little bit at the start of the race today. So with that being said, I went through the other championship four drivers. The only one I haven't gone through yet, and my pick to win the championship today, is pole sitter William Byron. He won the race in the spring. This team executes a lot this season. Sure, he might not lead as many laps as, say, Kyle Larson in a lot of these races that Byron has won this year, but for William Byron, he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't overdrive the car, and his pit crew has probably been the best pit crew from start to finish this year from a consistency standpoint and a speed standpoint on pit road. Him having that number one pit box today is going to be vital for him on pit road in the late going of the race as well, if we do have any late race cautions. And with how fast that pit crew is, how consistent they are at not making mistakes, how consistent Byron is at not making mistakes throughout the course of a full race. That is why William Byron has won as many races as he has this year. It doesn't matter if there's a late race restart. He still comes in the clutch. He doesn't let the pressure get to him. Kyle Larson's had the pressure get to him a handful of times this season and in his NASCAR Cup Series career. And that is why, even though I think they're going to have equal speed today, I'm going to put the edge to William Byron. He got it done in the spring. I could see this race coming down to a very similar finish as what we saw both in the championship race in 2021 and in the spring race earlier this season. So I'm going to take William Byron to get the Phoenix sweep and win his first career NASCAR Cup Series championship. Coming into the playoffs, Byron was my pick to win the title. That's not the reason I'm sticking to it necessarily. But for the reasons I had mentioned, to back it up on top of the speed he looks to have this weekend and had earlier this year at Phoenix as well, I think that proves to be consistent. Hendrick Motorsports has been really good at flat racetracks this season. Although they didn't run well at Martinsville last year, they dominated the Martinsville spring race. Short track races have been Kyle Larson's so far through the season, and the bigger intermediate tracks on flat tracks have gone to William Byron. So going to take William Byron to win the race today, win the championship. So that is my predictions for the championship four drivers. Still got roughly a little over 15 minutes from the drop of the green flag yet today. Joanne C., Terry Lewis, Mark DeMars, Mark Witkowski, Northwest Arizona, Kyle Sharp, and others, welcome into the stream. Be sure to hit that like button if you guys haven't done so yet. 150 likes will be our goal for this championship Sunday for the NASCAR Cup Series. 37 concurrent viewers watching in our pre-race show so far, so appreciate that for everybody that has hit the like button, that is tuned in here on this Sunday afternoon. Can't wait to bring you guys the flag-to-flag coverage throughout the course of this one here today. This is the first ever Championship 4 race on the channel for the NASCAR Cup Series. I had broadcasted the Xfinity Series Championship back in 2021. That was one of the first ever live commentary streams, kind of testing the waters with it. Last season, I did all the Cup races I didn't go to in person, and I didn't do hardly any of the Xfinity and Truck Series races due to my schedule at work at the time. Finagled that, was able to get the Friday, Saturday, Sundays off needed to give you guys live commentary all weekend for all three series this year. We've done the Truck, we've done the Xfinities this weekend, and because I was in Phoenix last year for the championship race, that is why I have not done the championship race on the channel for live commentary, at least for the Cup Series. So this is the first time ever. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes. I feel like so far so good with the stream and with my broadcasted abilities, even though we haven't gotten the race started yet. Feel good to go, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy today's broadcast. Update on the poll right now. 39 votes have been casted. Ryan Blaney still leading the way at 44%. Byron catching up to him, though. He was in third. Now he's in second. Byron has 31% of the votes. Kyle Larson with 23%. Only 3% taking Christopher Bell of the 39 votes so far to win the championship. Again, that will be up until the end of Stage 2. for those of you wondering. If you're not in the NASCAR Fantasy League yet, I highly recommend that you join. You can join on the NASCAR mobile app or NASCAR.com website. Get a chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season, excluding the Daytona 500, if you win the regular season or playoff championship. As far as the regular season, obviously already done, and with just one race to go, you're not going to be able to win today's championship, but we have a lot of contenders that are in the running for our playoff championship today with a very tight points battle, and I'd probably say of the 3 years we've done this on the channel, this is probably the closest I think I've ever seen the standings, regular season or playoffs, going into the final race. It is just a 2-point differential at the top of the leaderboard as we'll take a look at the standings coming into this one. That's overall. Inside Uranus, who won the regular season title, trying to get the sweep by winning the playoff championship, and a lot of other contenders in here as well. I currently have a 2-point lead in the playoff championship. Inside Uranus closed that gap down from 43 points back last week to now just 2 points back. Very much in contention. EC23 with 1,752 points is only 19 points out of third despite being 19 points out of first despite being third in points. Monster Jam X10 with 1748 coming in fourth in the standings. He by no means is out of it either, as he is only sitting 24 points out of first place. Dark Crypto, not that far even behind him. 1735, 36 points out of first for the fifth place person in the point standings. And then Nate the Powers in sixth place, I wouldn't even count out of it, as well as P-Shat Motorsports, 1699 and 1673. And the reason being is because we have seen consistently throughout the season, but especially in the playoffs, whoever wins that race is usually scored well over 200 points. So to be within 102 points for the top 7 right now is absolutely insane. Even to go just beyond that, Mark the Kyle Busch fan in 8th in the standings is only 106 points back, or 107 points back, excuse me. So, yeah, very, very tight. I'd probably say everybody in the top 9 has a shot to win the championship here today, which is absurd for, 10 races to come down to this close of a point standings between that many people in the fantasy league. So any one of those top 9 could get it done today if they have a solid day, maybe get some help. We obviously don't know who everybody has taken on their fantasy team up to this point until the race starts. Then you can click on them online. Robert Burkle, Daniel Powers, also welcome into the stream. So again, that is on the NASCAR mobile app or website. If you're looking for the league to join as well, it is KRC League. KRC in all caps, a space and then a capital L on league. So there you have it, KRC League. I put it up in the chat for those of you wondering spelling-wise. And it has to be case sensitive. And also remember that if you have any of the Championship 4 drivers in your fantasy lineup today, they will not be earning stage points, with this being the final race of the season, and that's how the points are awarded for those drivers. So if you have any of the Championship 4 drivers expecting them to run really well, just remember that they're not going to score stage points, so that could be a big difference maker in our championship as well. There's still a race for other points, other drivers in the point standings other than just the Championship 4 of Blaney, Bell, Larson, and Byron today. You can still finish as high as 5th in the point standings if you did qualify for the original 16-man playoffs based off of the points awarded throughout the playoffs, whether you were eliminated in the round of 16, round of 8, round of 12. Denny Hamlin currently 5th in the standings right now over his own car, really. Tyler Reddick, who is 6th in the standings. Great run for Reddick. Be a career-high points finish for him if he can hold on to that, and maybe even have a shot at Denny Hamlin for 5th. Coming into this race today, just a 25-point difference between Hamlin and Reddick. Hamlin looked a little bit faster than Reddick in qualifying yesterday, as Hamlin qualified just a few positions ahead of him, but that could be a tight battle throughout the day today, especially if both are running in the top 10. Brad Keselowski, a little bit bigger gap behind them. He mathematically can't finish in the 5th place position, and in fact, it's going to be very difficult for him to even get 6th. So he's basically just trying to hold on for 7th. His teammate Chris Buescher just 15 points behind him, 8th in the standings. Ross Chastain comes in 9th in points, and Bubba Wallace looking for his first career top 10 points finish. He's actually tied for 9th with Ross Chastain. Coming into the day, Joey Logano, who has picked it up a little bit the last couple weeks of the playoffs after getting eliminated, is only 3 points out of 9th in the standings. And Martin Truex Jr., who won the regular season championship, is 12th in points coming into the day today, but he is only 14 points behind 9th, so he can get back into the top 10. He starts second. Good chance of him being able to do that. Kyle Busch, 13th in the point standings. Probably looked like it was going to be a much better year for Busch coming into really the mid portion of the season where he already had 3 wins in the first 13 races, but hasn't won since, and the consistency really lacked not only throughout the summer months, but continuing on into the playoffs. He was eliminated in the round of 12. Kevin Harvick also eliminated early in the playoffs. He was, in fact, eliminated in the round of 16. That first round, poor run at Bristol. 14th in points for Harvick right now. Remember, this is his final career Cup Series race. He'll be in the box booth for the first half of next season. Maybe he jumps some part-time roles beyond that, but at least for right now, this is looking like the final career race for Kevin Harvick. Then you got Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in points. Chase Elliott still 17th in the standings and pretty comfortably there. That's as high as he can finish in points this season. And I do believe he was kept out of the Owners' Championship 4 as well, as the Owners' standings has the same Championship 4 as the Owners' standings have the same Championship 4 as the Driver standings. Chase Elliott has gotten the 9 team and the Owners' points up to 8th, so he could still finish as high as 7th, it looks like, for the Owners' standings, but Driver standings, again, for Chase Elliott, he can only finish as high as 17th. Ty Gibbs still looking at the Rookie of the Year honors. Obviously, his participant, Noah Gragson, hasn't raced in several weeks after being cut from Legacy Motor Club. So Gibbs has locked up the Rookie of the Year standings, 18th in points for him, but he still could get up as high as 17th today if Elliott has an off day and Ty Gibbs has a pretty solid performance. So I saw it in the chat already, and I'll answer this question. I'll kind of go through it as we go. Kevin Harvick, this is his final career NASCAR Cup Series race today. I think he's going to have a good day. Phoenix is one of his better racetracks, if not his very best racetrack. He's won here 9 times in his career. Do I think he's going to win today? No, but I think he could compete for the win. Of the non-playoff drivers, or the non-championship board drivers, I think he probably has the best shot to win of those. Third in qualifying, so that's where he's going to be starting the race today. I'm going to look at the practice times real quick. See where he was practice-wise. I mentioned the Fords last year really good on the flatter ovals, and that's been the case for most of the season. It's just not so much at Phoenix. But this is Harvick's racetrack. 12th overall in practice yesterday. Check out the lap averages, see where he ranked in some of those categories. He had the 6th fastest 5-lap average, the 4th fastest 10-lap average. He also had the 4th fastest 15 and 20 lap average, and he had the fastest 25 lap average. He did not make a 30 lap run. So I think Harvick's going to be in the top 5 all day. I mean, just based off of that, his career success at this racetrack. It's been a few years since he's won at Phoenix, but I still think that he can very much be in contention throughout the course of the race today. So lean towards Kevin Harvick having a solid finish. Remember, Jimmy Johnson in his final race at Phoenix just a couple years ago, 2020, ended up finishing 5th. I can see that very much being the case for Kevin Harvick here today. I would not be shocked if he finishes as strong as it is looking like he may finish. "20 straight top 10s at Phoenix." Yep, a NASCAR record at that for the most consecutive top 10s at a single racetrack. I believe he beat Dale Earnhardt's record back in the spring race at Phoenix. Either he beat it or he matched it, and he's going for the record today. I think Earnhardt's record was at 19, though. So I believe that, or it might have been 18, and then Harvick broke it at 19 earlier in the spring. Harvick had a good run in the spring race, and he's had good runs on shorter racetracks with the next-gen car. I mean, you look back to one of his 2 wins in the next-gen car coming at Richmond, finished 2nd in the other Richmond race last year, although he hasn't been quite as good on the short tracks this season. That has been SHR's probably strong point all year, has been short tracks. So today could definitely be a good day for Kevin Harvick, as although this is considered an intermediate track, it very much races like a short track.
Go ahead and say, Red Byron won the first championship. William Byron is running today.
Wow,
no relation.
What's on
I want to connect them in.
DJ, this begs the question, where's your cup championship trophy?
It's at my office back in North Carolina. So,
and like a case, is it on display?
It's on display where you can see it. That's the first thing you see when you walk.
That's what I would display as well if I won a Cup Series championship. I want to make sure everyone saw that. Time now for a very special Championship 4 driver introduction to the sold-out crowd here in Phoenix.
And now, here to present the NASCAR Cup Series Championship 4. Please welcome to the stage Wrestling Hall of Famer and host of Armageddon, Nikki Garcia.
What up, Phoenix Raceway? I know y'all can be louder than that. Let's hear it. Okay, so 35 races has led to this moment. The field has been narrowed to the drivers that will compete for the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. Now, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to meet your Champ 4 drivers? Leading all of Cup Series drivers with 6 wins, including a checkered flag in the spring here in Phoenix, driving the number 24 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, making his Championship 4 debut. Give it up for William Byron. He was the first to secure his spot in the final round of the playoffs. The last time he made the Championship 4, he won it all to become your 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Driving the number 5 Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports, Larson. Punched his ticket to Phoenix on his win at Homestead Miami Speedway, driving the number 20 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing and making his second straight appearance in the Champ 4. Give it up for Christopher Bell. His win last weekend in Martinsville was one of 3 this season and locked him into his first ever appearance in the Championship 4. Driving the number 12 Ford for Team Penske. Make some noise for Ryan Blaney. The cars are printed. Our Championship 4 is locked in, and the countdown is on for the start of the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race right here at the Phoenix Raceway.
When we come back, we'll hear from the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champ Kyle Larson. Plus, it's time for our championship picks. Who wins the title? Junior Jeff Steve and the entire game give their picks next.
Getting closer to the drop of the green flag for today's championship race at Phoenix. I believe the drop of the green flag is scheduled for 3:25 this afternoon, so we're still a little less than a half hour away yet. Went live maybe a little earlier than I probably should have, but we are here nonetheless. JBX, let's see, 30,001. Thanks for tuning in. It's going to win the $1 million prize. They keep advertising. I can't wait to see it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've done like a playoff knockout format of like a Powerball for NASCAR to win $1 million. So, yeah, I think it's $1 million and a trip to next year's championship race at Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So, there's also that involved in it. Villanor, thanks for tuning into the stream. Linda Leverett, Patty and Rumdy Creations, iRacing 413. Also welcome in. Once again, be sure to hit the like button if you guys haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. So what am I going to do for the next 104 days? Well, we are still going to have content on the channel, primarily on the daily. We're going to have some NASCAR video game stuff currently doing a NASCAR Thunder 2004 career mode, so we'll be doing that during the week and taking place, of course, on the weekends with no live commentary streams. I do plan on bringing back the Throwback Thursday streams as well at some point during the winter, starting to make those a weekly occurrence again. Ever since I started having issues with my laptop running very slow, I don't want to do it because it tends to want to glitch out quite a bit, and there's a huge lag with that, with having multiple streaming platforms up at once. As you saw maybe on Friday night where my laptop crashed close to the end of the race. Luckily, got it back up and running in less than 15 minutes, and we didn't didn't miss, I should say, the finish of the race. So, yeah, as soon as I get a new laptop, plan on doing that. Throwback Thursday series, by the way, are just where I go back, watch a classic NASCAR race for whatever track they were going to that weekend. So I'm going to pick up basically where I left off. We ended up getting into the early summer ones before I was unable to continue to do those with the technical issues. So that's where I plan on picking it back up again. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Darlington would be the next one. You guys voted for me to watch the 2003 Darlington race, spring race.
Motorsports, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. For some updates on the championship 4 teams, let's go to pit road with Dave Burns.
Marty, why is no one picking Christopher Bell? The Vegas odds have him under the radar. Our experts don't have him at the top of their list, but crew chief Adam Stevens told me this morning that is not what we are seeing. We don't even feel that. We don't feel the disrespect. And our competitors know that when we are on our game, we are very, very hard to beat. It'll be Christopher Bell's second try at the Championship 4. Kim?
Well, Dave, Ryan Blaney is a third-generation race car driver who comes from a family of champions. His grandfather, Lou, won multiple dirt track championships. His dad, Dave, is an outlaw champion. His uncle, Dale, is an all-star champion. And today, Ryan has an opportunity to bring an asphalt championship to the Blaney family name, to add a NASCAR championship to that list, Parker.
Well, Kim, the William Byron, the 24 car, this is the fastest 24 car that Rudy Fugle could bring here to Phoenix. And why is it when the next gen era, when a lot of these cars are supposed to be the same, well, they're all built to tolerances. He told me they went through this car 1,000 times, measuring every tolerance possible to make sure it maximized every bit of it. And guess what? He won the pole. So I think they got all those tolerances correct on this 24 car, ensuring it's super fast, Dave.
Parker, Kyle Larson's exciting to watch because he's always so close to the edge with his race car. But he was critical of himself this week, saying that because he's on the edge so often, he's perhaps too comfortable with the edge, leading to crashes. He pointed out that he's failed to finish a race more times than almost anyone this year. But he's also that driver who leads multiple positive categories and won 4 times. That's why you love him. And today, he seeks to win his second championship after a good, great, even better year.
Short track season has been kind to Kyle Larson.
I honestly have never thought that I would win here, so I don't have a spot picked out for the club. Adding this trophy to the collection is going to be amazing.
What a finish by Kyle Larson.
A lot of things could have gone wrong today, and this team stuck to get there.
We've led the most laps. We've won 5 races. We're close to being the leader in top 5s and top 10s. So it's pretty wild that you can lead all that stuff and be leading the series in DNFs as well. But we kind of flipped the script this weekend and close our story with a championship will be pretty amazing.
Great job all around, guys.
So, DJ, the season numbers for Kyle Larson show 4 wins. That doesn't account for the 7 times, to Dave's point, that they had the fastest car, according to Cliff Daniels, and didn't win the race. Are mistakes a concern for the 5 team today?
Yeah, stats mean nothing today. You just need to beat other drivers and not making a mistake to cost yourself an opportunity to win this championship. That's been something. But Kyle Larson says it best himself. You know, he puts himself out on that edge. He has to rein that back just a little bit to make sure he's around at the end to be a factor.
Right now, the 2021 champ is with Jeff Burton and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, we're down here in the pits with Kyle Larson. Kyle, you're getting ready to run this race, but I wanted to ask you, man, you've been here before, but now you have a championship. The other drivers don't. I'm just curious, as a driver, what that's like coming into this race, already having that championship. Does it make you want that second more?
I want the second just as bad as I want the first, for sure. I think,
So far, I would say just a little bit less nerves than the first time around, but there's definitely still some nerves. It's just a big day, a big opportunity, one that I think our team is prepared for, and you're just looking forward to getting out there and getting racing to this point. Just done a ton of study in the last couple of weeks, and now it's just ready to go.
Kyle, there's little doubt by anybody you guys will have enough speed to get done what you need to get done, but what worries you the most about this one race event?
I don't know. I think, we probably weren't as fast where we want to be on Friday, but I think we made a lot of adjustments. Track was way different on Friday, too. The one thing that I wouldn't even say worries, I just don't really know how we're going to be yet today. So, just need to get out there and make some laps. I know my pit crew is going to do a phenomenal job today. I know we can execute better than any team out there when we put it together. So, just got to do our best to stay calm, stay focused, and execute a good race.
Yeah, I heard you make those comments about your car in practice, and we really didn't hear much feedback from the other drivers. Not a lot of radio chatter about balance of race car. What were some of the things you were dealing with?
I was just really loose in, would build loose off, and I felt really bad about it on Friday. And then when you get peeling it back and looking at everybody's data, I think everybody in the field was struggling. It was really slick, it felt like. So, again, I don't really know how we're going to be. It's different conditions, but I know we have a long race ahead of us to work on it. So, if we are off a little bit, we have time to catch up.
And it should be a lot of fun watching these guys. This track's going to be completely different, Marty, than what they practiced on.
Yeah, that's the point where I was making earlier. So, KP, I want to ask you what Junior asked Kyle Larson. How does being a past champion maybe help him today?
Listen, I think Kyle Larson, in his mind, it might be the first time he's ever been to the championship. I know this race is going to be the first time he's ever seen Phoenix. That's the way he approaches things. I've never seen pressure on this kid. When you interview him, his body language, he talked about being a little nervous. Show me something. I don't even see him sweating, you know what I mean? And it's interesting if you listen to what he said. He did a lot of studying. He didn't say he spent time in the sim. He said, I did a lot of studying. And he also said, I don't even know what we're going to have until we get out there. That's the kind of driver he is. He just adjusts to whatever's thrown at him. And when he gets out there, after he runs 4 or 5 laps, he'll start making those decisions and calls.
Yeah, you're 100% right. You see that, you just can feel the coolness in Kyle Larson. He is a mega talent. We all know that. We see him get in that sprint car and just dominate event after event. And he comes into the Cup Series, same thing. He drives the wheels off that race car. And I'll tell you something Christopher Bell talked about earlier that caught my attention. He was talking about the residual resin. If that does come into play, which they didn't have availability to that on qualifying, that will be in Kyle Larson's wheelhouse as we go throughout the day. Watch out for him.
Great point.
Okay, time for our championship picks. Junior, we'll start with you. Now, you picked Ryan Blaney back in January. Are you sticking with Blaney today?
Yeah, absolutely. Why would I change? The guy's coming off of a win at Martinsville. So much momentum and confidence in this team in the playoffs, and he's great here in Phoenix.
Yeah, look, great pick. What's wrong? I'm going William Byron. I just think William Byron, the speed those guys have, Rudy Fugel, they are just lined up, Steve. I got William Byron.
Well, Jeff, I agree. I think 312 laps is going to race like a season, and for that reason, I'm taking the most consistent. 6 wins already. Today could be 7. Give me William Byron for that #1 pit stall.
Okay, pit box, our turn. DJ, you're up first. Okay, the Dales are thinking alike. We're going with Blaney right here. Okay.
And one thing I can tell you, you talk about these drivers and hear them say they don't know what to expect. I'll assure them that it's not going to have more grip than what it had the other day because the temperature is way up there. Whoever can handle a slick racetrack is in good shape.
All right, listen, I've been with William Byron since we went to Daytona in February. I've been that way for so long. I just love this kid to death. So my motto right now is Byron in 49, Byron in 23. We're going to book you in this 75 years in NASCAR.
Have you guys lost your minds? Have you been sniffing fumes? Did we just talk about this guy being the most unbelievable race car driver on the face of the planet? You didn't pick Kyle Larson? I'm riding with Kyle today.
I need to borrow Christopher Bell's phone, DJ, because he's going to show us, hey, I keep receipts, right? Nobody picked Christopher Bell. And you go through the garage area this morning, and everyone says he's one of the best cars.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. And you talk about somebody being able to handle slick conditions. Christopher Bell does that as good as anyone. You talk about speed. It's not going to be speed. It's going to be whoever can handle these conditions.
And do not forget William Byron, the man right there on the pole today with that #1 pit stall. That could be huge when it comes down to the end of the race today. The captain, Roger Penske, here. Incredible. That could be their first ever back-to-back championships for Team Penske. Ryan Blaney could deliver that today. Kyle Larson. And to your point, Kyle, if the track changes, Larson's going to be good on that high line here this afternoon. No doubt about it. When we come back, what are you willing to do to win a championship? This race will test your morals. We'll discuss that next. Plus the pre-race ceremonies for NASCAR Championship Sunday from the Phoenix Raceway.
Yeah, we'll keep playing more of the pre-race coverage as we get closer to the drop of the green flag. I thought the drop of the green flag was supposed to be for 3:25 today. I guess it's going to be a little bit later than that. Hopefully, I don't go too far past the scheduled airtime for this race, which I think extends until 6 o'clock. Let me check just to make sure. Obviously, to get any other post-race it goes till 7. Okay, so maybe that's why they're running a little bit slower here. Any of the post-race interviews we get, obviously following the race, you guys will get to listen, and I'll actually play the championship presentation as well after the race. I have not done that the last 2 nights, but I'll make sure to do that with this being the Cup Series race today. So if you're willing to stick around after the race is over, I'll play all that for you guys on the main NBC broadcast. Irina Sarabon 1771, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the drop of the green flag is. That's why I don't have the leaderboard up for you guys yet either, because the engines haven't even fired, and that's usually about the time that the raw feed becomes available. Or the website has been down and it doesn't become available till middle of the race. I really hope that doesn't happen today with this being the championship. But that's why there's no leaderboard, so I don't really know what to show on screen right now other than the point standings. Talked about everything we need to talk about. So here's more of the NBC pre-race coverage.
We have seen these playoff races test drivers' morals. One spot on the track can win you a championship. So what's acceptable and what's not?
Look, these drivers know what's acceptable. They know what they can live with. Spinning someone out, coming to get the checker flag to win the trophy, I don't think that's acceptable.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Spinning someone out in that situation, but at the same time, they remember they got to go to Daytona in February and race each other again.
I'm telling you, man, Mom, I love you, but I'm wrecking you if I gotta get checker flag.
Not really do that, Brad.
Yes, my mom loves me. Absolutely.
Time for today's pre-race ceremonies on a picture-perfect Arizona fall afternoon on NASCAR Championship Sunday.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise as you are able and remove your hats as the Luke Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome the chaplain from the 56th Fighter Wing at Luke Air Force Base, Captain Jeff Reibold.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this race. Protect each driver, cover them with your grace. Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota too, these mighty machines we lift up to you. Bless the drivers, pit crew, announcers, and crowd. After this prayer, help us all to cheer loud. For the race, I pray illustrates what is true about finishing a race that's committed to you. Lord, bless the race and the post-celebration. This I pray to the God of creation. Amen.
And now, to perform our national anthem, please welcome the United States Air Force Band Singing Sergeants.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
On the other side, Dale Jr. will explain why the restarts here at Phoenix are so crazy. It's time to get the engine started and decide the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion next on NBC Sports.
All right, so the only thing we have to do now is just fire the engines, get the parade laps underway, and then the drop of the green flag will be shortly thereafter. When does the 2024 season start? The LA Clash at the Coliseum is the first exhibition race again, which is the week before the Super Bowl, and that is the first Sunday of February next year. So the first Sunday of February, NASCAR will be back, and then they'll have that 2-week break before the Daytona 500. Of course, speed weeks from Wednesday leading up to Sunday for the 500 that week of. I'm not sure exactly like what day that is of the month, but I know it's the first Sunday of February where the season will pick back up again. On the road to 5,000 subscribers on the channel, so definitely be sure to do so if you haven't already. And we are almost a third of the way to our goal for likes on the stream of 150. Currently, we are at 49. Race has not even gotten underway yet. True Assassin 86X, thanks for tuning in. Ethan Chua, welcome to the stream also. Six starting at the back due to a driver change from Custer back to Brad Keselowski. Yeah, Cole Custer had actually qualified the 6 car yesterday afternoon for RFK Racing. Keselowski was not in the Phoenix area at the time as his wife was going into labor for the birth of one of their child. So Brad Keselowski at the track today to run the race, but he'll have to start at the rear because of not qualifying. And some people might ask why make the driver change then or even qualify the car to begin with if you know that you're going to have to start at the back anyway. Don't want to risk wrecking it. I get that, but at the same time, if there is something mechanically not right with the car, at least the secondary driver would be able to pick up on that, relay that message to the team, and then they can go ahead and fix whatever the problem is overnight leading up to the race today. So that way when they unload, if they didn't qualify and they just started off with a problem, the race would be done before it begins. So any extra track time you can get, take it, and that's what these drivers tend to do time and time again, especially with the lack of practice and qualifying we've seen in recent years of NASCAR post-pandemic. They don't get as much track time over the course of the weekend as they used to.
For those 4 drivers, it's been an incredible year, but it all comes down to Phoenix today. How will the championship race play out? Let's get some updates from pit road, starting with Parker Kligerman.
Well, Marty, Byron is known for his use of iRacing and simulation, but what you might not know is what a team like Hendrick Motorsports does with that. On Friday, they had a team there till 1 a.m. working scenarios out that helped this 24 car win the pole. They also have an Xfinity Series driver there today running scenarios for the 24 and the 5 that help these Hendrick Motorsports cars be as fast as they possibly can in this championship fight, Kim.
Well, Parker, from Ryan Blaney, it's been an entire Penske organization effort to prepare the 12 team to win this championship. At their competition meeting Monday, last year's champion and Ryan's teammate Joey Logano and his crew chief Paul walked the 12 team through every single thing they did to run well at Phoenix to win the title last year. Things that Blaney and his team are hoping to apply to get a little bit more speed. Ryan and his team told me they feel like they have a complete blueprint, Dave, of what they need to do to win here today.
Kim, from his office inside the 20 car, Christopher Bell will be communicating with that man right there, Adam Stevens on the right. What is happening with his race car? Adam told me that's not intuitive. to a kid that grew up racing open wheel cars on dirt tracks where the track changed constantly, and after 25 laps it was over. But he told me it's a part of Christopher Bell's game, giving that feedback that has improved tremendously in 2023. It could lead them to his first championship, Marty.
Dave, if Kyle Larson can win the title today, it would be his second in the last 3 years. And he told me this week this one would certainly feel a little bit different. In 2021, he said everything fell our way. This year, not so much. While we've had speed almost every week, we've made so many mistakes this year. So pulling off the title today for the 5-team, in Larson's words, would be a little more special. You know, DJ, in this format, every year, the champion has won this race. Does that streak continue today?
Absolutely. These are the 4 best drivers to this point. That's why they're part of the championship 4. They have 15 wins already. The rest of the field and all the drivers have 20. Yes, that's going to happen once again today.
Kyle, how are the nerves right now for those championship 4 drivers?
There are no nerves. They handed somebody their hat, their sunglasses, their nerves. They're in their happy place, getting ready to do the thing they love.
Time now for a very special NASCAR 75th anniversary command to start the engines for Championship Sunday.
At this time, we would like to welcome NASCAR President Steve Phelps.
Back in February at the Daytona 500, we kicked off our 75th anniversary season. We had 3 things that we wanted to accomplish. We wanted to celebrate our rich history. We wanted to celebrate the great racing that we have today, and we wanted to look ever forward to the future and the next 75 years of NASCAR. So as we wave the green flag on the last race of our 75th anniversary season, we would like to say thank you to the entire NASCAR community, our drivers, our race teams, our racetracks, our many sponsors, and our television partners. Thank you for a very memorable 2023 season. You know, there's one other group that I would like to thank, and they are the greatest sports fans in the world, and those are NASCAR fans. Thank you for all you do. We could not do this without you. And lastly, I want to say good luck to our championship 4, to Ryan Blaney, to Kyle Larson, to William Byron, and to Christopher Bell. We look forward to seeing one of you and crowning you our 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion.
In celebration of NASCAR's 75th anniversary season, help me welcome our Diamond Anniversary dignitaries. Representing NASCAR's past, 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion and inaugural member of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, the King, Richard Petty. He is a NASCAR Hall of Famer and Cup Series champion with 55 Cup wins, Rusty Wallace. He captured the 2000 Cup Series championship and has a total of 21 Cup Series victories. A member of the NASCAR Hall of Fame, Bobby Labonte. The first champion of the Cup Series playoff era. He had wins in 19 of his 22 seasons as a Cup regular. The 2004 Cup Series champion, Kurt Busch. And representing NASCAR's bright future, 4 youth racers from across the country. 8-year-old Braxton Busch is a third-generation racer. In 2023 alone, he has amassed an impressive 30 wins. 7-year-old Easton Convency is a current driver of the NASCAR Youth Series from Tucson, Arizona. Giselle Hicks is a 9-year-old, 4th-generation racer, eager to carry on the legacy of her family's team, the Wood Brothers Racing. 10-year-old Grayson Walcott is a fast-rising go-kart racer from Chicago. He even made his debut as a junior sports commentator this summer at NASCAR Chicago street race events. And now, here to give the command for the championship race, our Diamond Anniversary dignitaries and representing NASCAR's premier partners. From Anheuser-Busch, Senior Brand Manager for Busch Light, Christina Danko. From Coca-Cola, Senior Manager of Motorsports Marketing, Al Rondon. And from Xfinity, Comcast Senior Manager of Brand Partnerships, Sarah Hale.
Driver! Start your engines! What a massive day for our sport. We're crowning the champion today. Many of the legends are here. Also promoters, Rick Hendrick, Joe Gibbs.
resembling a hole shot in motocross with drivers going 5, 6, even 7 wide, all trying to be the first one to turn 1. Contact is often made, but if you make all the right decisions, there's tons of positions to be gained. It won't be enough to be good today on restarts at Phoenix. You'll have to be great. Let's get this party started. Coming up after the break, it's the green flag.
And there you have it. Engines are fired for the running of the NASCAR Championship race in 2023, and we are just 312 laps, 312 miles away from crowning that said champion and race winner on the season finale. Don't forget to vote for who you think will win today's championship for the NASCAR Cup Series in the poll open in the chat. That will stay open until the end of Stage 2 today. 94 votes have already been casted in our pre-race show. Ryan Blaney has 40% of those votes, leading the way. 26% for both William Byron and Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell at 9% of the votes. We'll see how much that'll change throughout the course of the race today, but a pretty tight poll there between 3 of the 4 in the championship 4. John Smith, thanks for tuning in. Bram Wirenga, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I said your last name correctly. When is the race predictions to end? I mean, as far as like the predictions itself, my prediction was already in about a half hour ago, really. I think we finished my portion of the pre-race at like 3:53, 3:54, somewhere around there. Or sorry, 2:53, 2:54. There's a time change. 3:26 right now, Eastern Time. 9:24 where you're at. Well, greetings from the other side of the world. Thanks for tuning in today. Yeah, I've talked about it a little bit already, but means we have a little bit of extra downtime here. I'm really pulling for Ryan Blaney to win the championship. I call these races pretty even, as an actual commentator would. I started this channel to, commentate, to boost my ability to hopefully one day get into the broadcast booth in some way, shape, or form and broadcasting real NASCAR races in person down the road. We're only a couple years into the channel. This is the first year of commentating all 3 series every weekend throughout the course of the year. So I appreciate everybody tuning along with me and following me on this ride. Definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. The likelihood of us getting to 5,000 subscribers today, not very high, but if we could do so, that would be a great cap to what has been a great season so far on the channel. And hopefully we have bigger and better things coming your way for next season.
From Kyle Larson, who's arguably the greatest race car driver in the world today, to the youngest title contender, and just 25 years old, and William Byron, who is the winningest driver this season. Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney join Byron in their search for that life-changing first championship. And Steve, let's dial up the pole winner in William Byron.
He's on the pole with the best starting spot. Let's see if we can get a hold of him. Hey, William, it's NBC booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Steve, I got you. What's up?
Well, buddy, 36 weeks, 6 wins have positioned you here in the championship race. What are the nerves, the confidence, the mindset rolling off here behind the wheel?
Yeah, I'm just really confident in our race team. We've got a great race team, and we've worked really hard all year. Everyone has to be here, but I feel like our group has put together a great season, and we've never let up. So today's the day, and I'm excited to just get out there and race and do our thing.
Handicapper for the fans, a very difficult 1-mile racetrack with challenges at each end. How do you tackle Phoenix?
Yeah, it's tough. It's kind of an intermediate short track, I guess. But, yeah, you got 2 different ends that got a lot of heavy braking and trying to get the throttle down on exit and trying to get through the middle of the corner. So, everyone's tough, and just trying to manage everything. Restarts are wild and crazy, too.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time. You've had an amazing season. I know the fans appreciate it. Good luck today.
Yeah, that's all. Thanks so much, fans, for watching. Thanks to you guys for all the work all year.
Well, William Byron has the best look out the windshield, Parker. He will roll off from the pole position. Right, Steven. His rise to this moment has been amazing. The 25-year-old only started racing 11 years ago, and since then has amassed 22 wins throughout the NASCAR ranks, but none could be as much as today. Today represents not only a chance at a championship,
but to complete a meteoric rise, the highest honor in American motorsports. He can remove himself from that full potential category and cement himself as one of the youngest champions in NASCAR Cup Series history. We'll see if the 2014 can get it done, Marty.
Parker, when it came to car selection for his teammate Kyle Larson in the 5 team for the championship race, Cliff Daniels told me that was an easy decision. They brought the car that started the playoffs with a win at Darlington. Then it almost won Texas, and it did make it to victory lane at Las Vegas. I said to Cliff Daniels Friday, that's a pretty good car. He said, no, it's our best car. Larson and Daniels hoping the best horse in their stable takes them to their second championship in 3 years, Dave.
Continuing through the starting lineup, Christopher Bell will be 13th when they take the green flag this morning. It'd be interesting to see what he can do in this pressure-packed situation. It was a year ago that he won his way to the championship with walk-off wins. Wins when it was the only option for him to do. And he believes that that is part of his mindset that helps him in situations like this. Today, not so much that, Kim, but just a strong race for the championship.
Well, Dave, you look at row 8, you see Ryan Blaney. He qualified in a 15th position, the lowest of the championship four. And when I talked with Ryan after his qualifying effort, he was a little miffed at the result, but also acknowledged qualifying has not been their strong suit this year. They have every reason to believe they can win this race. They had the fastest 15-lap average in practice. They feel confident about their race speed and this track. Ryan has finished runner-up in the last 2 Phoenix races.
Well, that's where the championship 4 drivers will start. You see the other names on that list.
The only other thing we have to do here as far as this stream is considered before the start of the race is to go through the starting lineup for our NASCAR Cup Series Championship race. Still awaiting the raw feed to become available to show you guys a live leaderboard throughout the course of the race. Fortunately, it looks to be down in the early going of the stream. The race has not quite yet started, but I am still not able to get it up on screen for right now, so hopefully that changes in the near future. They're checking pit road times currently, so yeah, we'll go through that starting lineup then before the drop of the green flag. Our first championship 4 competitor starting on the pole, William Byron, going to start out in front of the field, looking to stay out there and win his first career championship today. He was the Spring Phoenix winner. The 2021 Spring Phoenix winner, Martin Truex Jr., will start outside of the front row in second. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Larson make up row 2. This is Kevin Harvick's final career NASCAR Cup Series start today. Larson, another one of the 4 championship 4 competitors in the race today. Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin make up row number 3. Row 4 for Eric Jones and Ross Chastain. Chris Buescher and Tyler Reddick will round out the top 10 in row number 5. Ty Gibbs, Ryan Preece making up row number 6. Christopher Bell and Todd Gilliland in row 7. Bell in his second straight championship 4 appearance. Ryan Blaney will be on the inside of row 8. He is the last of the 4 championship 4 drivers to qualifying yesterday. Daniel Suarez in that same row to the outside. Joey Logano, defending series champion, on the inside of row 9 with Kyle Busch, 2-time Cup champion, to the outside. Michael McDowell and Chase Elliott will be in row number 10 for this one. Row 11, Austin Dillon and Carson Hocevar in the 42 again for Legacy Motor Club. Alex Bowman, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. row number 12. Harrison Burton and Chase Briscoe in row 13. Row 14 for Austin Cindric and Eric Almirola. Corey LaJoie and Ryan Newman make up row 15. Row 16 today is Brad Keselowski and AJ Allmendinger. Keselowski dropping to the rear of the field today as they had a driver change from qualifying to the race. Cole Custer qualified that car yesterday afternoon. Ty Dillon and J.J. Yaley in row number 17. Row 18, rounding out the field, will be Justin Haley and B.J. McLeod. Haley's last race with Colleague Racing before going over to Rick Ware Racing full-time next season.
And I think that makes it a little bit easier, but this moment for Kevin Harvick has to be emotional. What he's done in this sport, coming in the manner in which he did, winning so many races, 10th all time. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer we get to send off.
All right, so we've talked a lot about the drivers, but Parker, these pit crews play a very instrumental role in who gets out front and could potentially win this race.
Definitely, Ricky. You guys talked about the first pit stall, the advantage there. This 24 team told me it's worth a couple tenths of speed to be in that first pit stall, but also in their pocket, that 24 pit crew, the fastest pit crew in 4-tire stops in the 2023 season here in the NASCAR Cup Series. So for William Byron, he's got the best pit stall. He's got the fastest pit crew. If they can nail it, Marty, they could be looking at a very good day.
So, Parker, are these pit crew guys athletes? Absolutely. I want to introduce you to Calvin Teague, who is the rear tire changer for Kyle Larson, and he injured his knee at Atlanta back in July. He was out 8 weeks after knee surgery, came back for the first race of the playoffs, did 7 stops that day, and they won the race. This pit crew is top 3. They've been top 3 all year long, Dave. They could deliver Kyle Larson another championship like they did in 21.
Marty, earlier this season, the crew for Christopher Bell was number 1 on pit road. That's why they were switched from a teammate that was not in the playoffs to Christopher Bell's race car. It has been less than 100% smooth since they got here, but they represent several sports backgrounds: football, baseball, basketball, and motocross. They know when it's game day. Today, they're going to bring it. Kim?
Well, Dave, for Ryan Blaney's crew, I asked them what was their approach to this week preparing for this championship race, and they told me if you're going to win a championship, you have to be pitting like you want to win a championship each and every week of the playoffs. They feel like they've done that over the course of these 10 races. Specifically last week, they said nothing is going to be harder than what we did last week pit stop-wise.
It's the last race for Kevin Harvick. Here's his radio.
Hey, Dad. I'm so proud of you. You had a great career. And I'll put you on more.
More, buddy. Thank you.
Good luck, Dad.
Thank you, Piper. Keelan and Piper saying, Dad, good luck.
That's a way to make a man teary-eyed as he's about to get to green flag racing at Phoenix here today. William Byron will lead the field to the green, and after the Geico restart zone, the race for the championship is underway. William Byron clears Martin Truex Jr. for the lead into turns 1 and 2 as the entire field cuts down to the apron through the dogleg. 3 and 4 wide through the middle of the pack. In the back half of the top 10, still 4 wide towards the exit of the corner.
Second is on. Harvick on the inside. Martin Truex Jr. on the outside.
As this first lap finishes, the nerves will settle in for the drivers. We heard Kyle Larson. He just wanted to know what he had in his race car. He's getting that right away as he makes a dive onto the flat. 3 wide for second.
Into turn 1. He's trying to hug that yellow line. Up the racetrack he goes. That makes Harvick have to go up a little bit higher than he wanted to.
The final Larson talked about that car being loose in practice on entry. Probably a little bit nervous about sending that car into the corner underneath the floor for the first time. Learning about how this car can handle, how much grip it has. They're doing that right now. Almost contact there, racing really close.
It's door to door for second. Larson trying to take it away from Harvick. Harvick holding on to it right now.
And you see right now the racetrack is ready in that second lane. A lot of times this racetrack is too dirty to run up the high line, but right now it's ready to roll.
Like Blaney back here in traffic, this is what he has to deal with.
He has one of the championship fours at 20th, Christopher Bell right in front. These are the 2 cars that I thought actually had the smoothest practice, but come qualifying time, they struggled the most. That's easy to recover as long as you're a little bit fortunate. You don't want one of these cars around you to have an issue. Slips up the track right there on entry, just behind the 99 of Daniel Suarez. His teammate back there, Logano, trying to give him a little bit of room here to work. There you see Christopher Bell on the inside of Daniel down in the corner. Logano playing like a trapeze spotter back there, just making sure if anybody gets close, he can help protect. It almost reversed from last year, right? Last year, Logano was racing for the championship, and Blaney played that role, trying to help Joey out.
Multiple lines around this racetrack, and they're being searched out early.
Blaney had a similar starting position last week in Martinsville, and over the period of the first run, drove through the top 10. Once this sort of settles out, this battle between Christopher Bell and the 99, I'm curious to see what the 12 can do.
Still door to door as Bell trying to clear that 99, but can't do it. Now Blaney looks in between them.
Christopher's clear. Will he travel in front of the 99? He does.
Now Suarez looks to the inside of Bell.
All these drivers are going to run so many different lines. You see Bell sort of in the middle of the 2 cars in front of him, trying to find clean air for the nose of that car. Here he tries to run just slightly lower than the 17 in front of him. This racetrack provides so many lines for these drivers to be able to find that clean air and keep those cars working.
On lap 7, we're already seeing drivers on the apron, as well as drivers up probably 3-4 lanes higher in turns 1 and 2. With an onboard of Christopher Bell giving us this view.
Even though it is wide, Rick, it still is difficult to make the inside. We watched in the Xfinity race last night, a lot of cars running side by side and trying to make passes. They were hard to make. So as the drivers on the outside line, learn more about the outside line, learn more about its grip, and gain more confidence, put more rubber down out there, I expect it to be even more difficult to make passes on the inside.
Here Christopher Bell tries to get by Kyle Busch. Take that spot away.
And you see the 41 of Reese jump to the outside of the 17 there. You're going to see that a lot as this race goes on. Drivers trying to get on the right rear quarter panel. And he's going to probably complete this pass.
Reese into turn 3. And can't get down in front of that 17 of Busher.
But now, he'll be able to carry momentum on corner exit, Rick. That's really the advantage in running the top lane, is that it's not about corner entry speed. It's about the speed you can carry through the middle and exit, and that's why it's so difficult making that pass on the bottom. You see right here, Kyle Busch right alongside Blaney will actually beat him down the front straightaway, carry a little more speed. It makes Blaney have to actually overdrive the corner, trying to slide up in front of Busch. That's exactly what he did.
So Blaney able to clear Busch there. And again, just in front of him is Christopher Bell. Bell made the comment earlier to us that just getting to this race was a very difficult task.
Yeah, the challenge of reaching the championship four is a race in itself. To be able to execute 3 rounds of the playoffs, which are 3 races at a time, and then have the point reset where, if you don't have the regular season that you need, you go back below the cutoff line. So, it really is a race in its own being, trying to make the Final Four.
And he's made it back-to-back years. He was here a year ago and wasn't able to close out the deal as Logano was able to win the championship last year. Dave.
Rick, in the pre-race, you guys talked about how the cars seem to be the best in practice, but one of the best in practice, but not that great at qualifying. Adam Stevens' crew chief was not concerned about that qualifying run because the practice was, in fact, so good. He said, we didn't change a spring on that car. That is the same 4 springs we had back at the shop when we were just thinking about what we thought would work well. So no concerns right now. Bell just radioed in just a little tight. That was on lap 11.
Yeah, long race, 13 laps into this race, which is 312 total. Again, 2 stage breaks will be guaranteed cautions for them. But even under caution, you don't really get to catch your breath. Bell hugging that yellow line right next to the apron. Still can't clear that 17 of Busher. Bell fighting back here in the 13th position. Blaney just a spot behind him. The other 2 Champ 4 drivers are up front. Byron running in the number 1 spot with Harvick running second. And Kyle Larson currently in third. William Byron leading the first laps here in this championship race at Phoenix Raceway.
Sorry to step away there for the initial start of the race. I tried letting my dog outside like twice before the stream started, and she had to go again. At an ill time there, right as the race was getting going, so apologize for that. But needless to say, be sure to hit the like button on the stream, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't done yet, and also vote for who you think will win today's race. Up to 113 votes in the poll for who you think will win the championship. That poll, again, will end at the end of Stage 2. And currently, Ryan Blaney still leading the poll at 42%. Kyle Larson with 27% of the votes, 22% for William Byron, and just 8% for Christopher Bell. Again, into Stage 2, right around the halfway mark of today's race will be when that poll will come to an end. Stages are 60, 125, and 127 today. So a very short first stage. They will not have to pit for fuel or tires in Stage 1 for today's race. So the running order you see right now more than likely will not change without another caution or any sort of pit stops with the yellow coming out. Too much more compared to where they're at now. I don't think we're going to see a lot of passing in this race today. We have seen a little bit more fall off this weekend at Phoenix than what we're used to seeing. A bit warmer temperatures compared to the last couple of seasons for this championship race weekend at Phoenix. Very reminiscent of last week's race at Martinsville, that had a slightly warmer climate throughout the course of the race weekend there compared to what we were used to seeing for fall races at that track, and that caused for quite a bit of handling differences throughout the course of the race. We'll spotlight the Championship 4 drivers during this commercial break right now, and this is their statistics on the season up to this point. William Byron comes in with the most wins between them, 6 wins apiece for him, 4 wins for Kyle Larson. He mentioned there in his interview pre-race that he had 5. He did win the All-Star race earlier this year, not points-paying event though. 3 wins for Ryan Blaney and just 2 wins for Christopher Bell this season, Dirt Bristol, and then a couple weeks ago at Homestead. Most top 5s on the year between the Championship 4 is a tie between Kyle Larson and William Byron at 14 apiece. 20 top 10s on the season for Byron, most of the Championship 4 drivers. Bell ranks second on that list with 19, and 17 apiece for both Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. 3 DNFs apiece for Blaney, Byron, and Bell, but 8 for Kyle Larson. Leads the series, let alone the Championship 4, but he also leads in laps led. 1,127 laps led for Kyle Larson this year. Second place for 921 laps led goes for William Byron. 599 laps led for Christopher Bell, and just 560 laps led on the season for Ryan Blaney. I will say, of everybody who has led as many laps as they have so far this year, each of the Championship 4 drivers do rank in the top 6 in most laps led. Stage wins on the season as well, 8 apiece for Byron and Larson, 6 for Ryan Blaney, and 4 for Christopher Bell. Larson and Byron tied for the series most in stage wins this year. Denny Hamlin also ranks in a tie on that list as well.
Has the speed to get it done. That's a bad luck. Power steering issue that really cost him. He ran well enough, just did not have a clean last segment of these playoffs. And this guy right here, also Chris Buescher, he was great this year. Good year for RFK, and he has a fast race car. And their disappointment is real for not being in this championship battle, but you can make yourself feel a whole lot better by having a great day today.
Yeah, the 17 car was kind of, running pretty neutral lap times in the 41 and preset driven by. Now he's found something in this car. He's passing this 45 car Reddick, already passed the 54 Ty Gibbs. You see the other championship contenders behind him there. But this 17 moving forward, running some really good lap time, a couple tenths faster than the cars around him.
Steve, Chris Buescher really threw a manufacturer on his back this year. I know there was a lot of question if Ford could get out there and win races. Well, all of a sudden, Chris Buescher rattled off a couple wins, and everybody looked at him and went, well, okay, must not be the manufacturer then, because he's running really well.
I think he put the other 4 teams on notice. There's a lot of whispers about maybe the power, or maybe the bodies, or the things that were holding that blue oval back. But then when RFK, specifically Buescher, came to life and did it in multiple different styles of racetracks. First, the short track of Richmond, a race that I thought his teammate and owner, Brad Keselowski, had a chance to win. And then when the winning continued at a high-speed Michigan, that was it. That was an exclamation point that said, a blue oval can win anywhere. You wonder if that's why Blaney is here in the Championship 4, and then topped it off with, hey, Bubba World Center Racing. I mean, it's always fun to win at Daytona.
And a 1-2 finish, he had Brad Keselowski right behind him there, pushing him to the win. As a matter of fact, Brad Keselowski's back here, and congratulations to the Keselowski family as they just introduced a boy into their family yesterday. As a matter of fact, Brad Keselowski flew back home to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Wasn't there for qualifying here yesterday, but was there for the birth of his son, and now is back behind the wheel of the 6 car today. Dave.
There he is right there. Brad Keselowski from 35th starting spot is up to 22nd, so he's making progress. He got here about 11 o'clock this morning, making sure that everything was good to go for him in the race car. Cole Custer actually qualified at 31st. The team told me that was just fine. We just need to make sure everything was okay. Brad just radioed the crew. Car is very good. He might have a fun day out here, the new dad.
And Dave, remember, when you talk about Cole Custer, you have to refer to him as Xfinity Series champion now. That's who qualified the car for Brad Keselowski yesterday, and he won the Xfinity Series championship last night right here on this track. William Byron still out front. He has a 1.2-second lead now, Parker.
He and Ted Harvick been training fastest laps back and forth, but Williams' team asked him before this race to give them reads on the race car. Sometimes he can go silent. They said we need a lot of reads, and just a
couple laps ago, he had this to say on the radio.
Entry number one, but pretty good everywhere, I think. Climbing with the rear, not really loose, climbing. The cars moved up in order to just pick up moment.
And that slidiness has developed into being free on the entry and free on the exit. The team continues to update him on the line. The Harvick's been running on the higher side as he tries to drive away from that fourth car right now, Marty.
Kevin Harvick in second right now, Parker, and his final full-time Cup Series start. You know, he admitted I haven't really shown much emotion until this week, and I asked Rodney Childers about that, and he said that emotion came out Monday night in a team dinner. Childers told me that Harvick got about one sentence into his team speech and started crying. Rodney said they all looked at each other because we'd never seen him have emotion like this. We didn't know how to react, but that shows you how much this race team means to him. Jeff, you've been through this before. What was that final start like for you? What's the emotion on this day? Hey, knowing I'm not going to be in a Cup car anymore.
You put your whole life into it, Marty. You grew up as a kid dreaming to be able to drive a race car. You've had the unbelievable opportunity to do it, and it's hard to imagine a life without it. And as you get closer, the reality of that starts stepping up into your brain. Like, what am I going to do next? What hole is going to be left inside of me when I don't have this anymore? And it is a scary situation for a race car driver, especially someone like Kevin Harvick that has put so much into it.
Yeah, it's definitely emotional, but I'll tell you right now, 32 laps into the race, he's thinking about being a race car driver. He sees that he's competitive to this 24. He's matching lap times with the leaders. He's at one of his best racetracks. So he's gaining confidence in a season where they've not had a lot to be confident about. He is gaining confidence in this race car, and we'll start to consider, like, what really could happen today. This might be a race where they could go out there and contend for the win. At the very least, continue that streak of 20 record straight top 10s at this racetrack.
You know, Harvick, he has a cup record of 20 straight, man. That is hard to imagine.
And Hunt Brothers Pizza's been with him for a lot of those years where he's finished in that top 10 position. William Byron right now leading the field still here at Phoenix.
Current top 5 has William Byron in the race lead, Kevin Harvick second, Kyle Larson third, Bubba Wallace fourth, and Martin Truex Jr. in fifth place. Still waiting on the leaderboard on NASCAR.com's website to become available to give you guys live lap-by-lap scoring. Until that happens, I can't really show that to you on screen or any leaderboard for that matter, so that's why I've been playing a little bit more of the race coverage in the early going. Got a lot of people pulling for Ryan Blaney to win the championship today. Still leading the poll at 44%. 124 votes have been casted so far. William Byron at 21%. Kyle Larson, 28% of the votes, second behind Blaney. And 7% of the votes going to Christopher Bell. One of those 4 drivers will win the championship later this afternoon. We'll hit our first ad break of the race. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship at Phoenix. Up to 69 likes on the stream, by the way, of our goal of 150. So be sure to hit that like button if you guys haven't done so. And I know I repeat myself in saying that every commercial break. And same thing with hitting that subscribe button. But it really does help the channel out a ton when you do both of those. And we are very, very close to 5,000 subscribers on the channel as well. Again, probably not going to get there today, which is going to be kind of frustrating to sit all winter just shy of 5,000. But I think that we can get there. Maybe sometime during the course of the off season, if all things still continue to go well. Appreciate the support you guys have given me, not only all this season, but maybe if you were listening to the live commentary streams last year as well. We weren't doing them for the Truck and Xfinity series last year due to my work schedule. We were only doing them for the Cup side, but did them all 3 races this year and plan to do that again for next season as well. Throwback Thursday is definitely going to be coming back to the channel as well at some point during the winter. And bleeding throughout the course of next season as well, where we'll watch a classic NASCAR race every Thursday and stream that prior to the live commentary schedule in the course of the weekend.
This championship is brought to you by Progressive, Keys to Progress program, providing cars to veterans in need. Coke Zero Sugar, is it the best Coke ever? And by Novartis. Well, Sundays are for taking it easy and NASCAR. Bud Light's making both easier to enjoy by giving you the chance to win a year's worth of beer. Scan that QR code on your screen to enter. A sold-out crowd here at Phoenix Raceway. There are 10,000 camping stalls and spots. Those were filled up on Monday, and it has been sold out since the summer as far as this championship race. To find out who will win the title, as we see Ross Chastain has made his way by Martin Truex Jr. And so Chastain up into the top 5. Martin Truex Jr., after starting on the front row, has fallen back to 6th. Bubba Wallace also having a good run right now, running in the 3rd spot behind Kevin Harvick. And, of course, Byron still out front by 1.1 seconds.
Looking over at the leaderboard, you'll see that Bubba Wallace has made his way around Kyle Larson for 3rd position. Let's take a look at that replay. I saw the lap time on the 5, very, very slow. Here he is way up the racetrack. 23 to the inside, down the front straightaway. Bubba Wallace had good speed. He's matching the leaders. Down into turns 1 and 2. 5 car still at the top of the racetrack. Bubba's going to clear it right here. So I'm wondering if the balance, the 5 car of Larson was the only driver that we really ever heard comment about the balance of his race car in practice. And so I wonder how this 5 car is driving and if Larson wants some improvements, Marty.
Santel Jr., he was concerned about the car being too free. It is too free here in the race as well, especially in turns 3 and 4. In fact, a moment ago, he said it just had absolutely no grip. And Steve, the quote from Cliff Daniels was, I can see that you're turning right in turns 3 and 4. We'll have an adjustment for that. Turning right in a left-hand corner, not a good thing, is it, Steve?
It's not a good thing, but what it definitely changed in racing is that Cliff can see it. He's looking at data, real live driver inputs. I think that has changed the dynamic and the relationship of driver crew chief. Now you don't have to ask the driver every single question. Look at the data and then point your questions in the direction of what you see you're being beat by or what you need. As now the 5 under attack from the 1 of Ross Chastain. Well, you two have had an eventful year. You mentioned Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain. Well, Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain as well, all the way back to Darlington.
Yeah, the 1 car goes by relatively easy on the bottom, and here's the 19 of Truex as well at the top of the picture. Down the bottom of the picture, trying to close in on the 5 as well.
If you're Larson, your challenge right now is to recognize that there are no stage breaks. You're not racing for stage points. This is a race to lap 312. And you know that the key to winning this race is being in position. And so what the game is right now, Steve, is to keep communicating, keep telling your crew chief, he can see it, look, what exactly am I dealing with? And keep making changes to the car, so it's better when it needs to be. Many times, the worst run of the day is this one, the first one. The track is super slick. Do not panic at this point, Kim.
And Ryan Blaney currently running in the 11th position. He had a fast car practice, got him a loose condition in practice. That's continued today. In fact, lap 13 said, I am loose in, loose off. Let's fast forward. What does he say now about his car? Let's take a listen.
I have no grip, no speed. It's hard to get in the middle here, 1 2, but my entry's so loose, my exits are so loose. I'm starting to chatter, but that's maybe. I know.
So despite that loose condition, still finding speed on the racetrack. I'm going to throw it to you guys. You get a sense of panic in Blaney's voice.
I'll tell you right now, when you look at this speed, he just ran the 2nd fastest lap on the track. I know that he probably doesn't know that, but the car drives badly. But I would tell him, look, the laps are competitive. I know you're not happy about the balance. I know you think you're losing tons of time because of how badly you think the car drives, but you're not. The lap times are good. We'll make the adjustments. Hang in there and finish this out.
And I'm attacking the entry first. I don't want, in the most pressure-packed race of your career, you chasing the back of the car every time you enter the corner. Because if I get a little better on entry, you're going to have to help me. You're going to have to put the car in the right position for the other 2/3 of the corner.
Championship 4 right now. It's Byron out in front. Larson's running 5th. Christopher Bell is 9th, and Blaney back in 11th.
Current leaderboard as of right now is not working on NASCAR.com to this point. It's pulled up the qualifying order on the raw feed, which is the first that has at least been the case. So it's a step in the right direction, but still not to where we needed to be. So on a NASCAR nonstop commercial break right now, we'll take another ad break ourselves as we have about 12 laps to go in Stage 1 of the NASCAR Cup Series Championship in Phoenix. I'll try to blow through the full field running order as it shows on the top of the screen right now for those of you watching the race on your local NBC affiliate. Just scoring that through the course of the commercial break. Your race leader is William Byron as of right now. Kevin Harvick still remains in second place. Bubba Wallace in third. Ross Chastain up to fourth. Kyle Larson in the fifth place position. Martin Truex Jr. in sixth. Chris Buescher seventh. Eric Jones in eighth place. Solid run early on for him. Ninth place for Christopher Bell. Denny Hamlin 10th. Ryan Blaney up to 11th. Tyler Reddick in 12th. 13th place in the running order for rookie Ty Gibbs. Ryan Preece is 14th. Daniel Suarez is 15th. Joey Logano 16th. Chase Elliott in 17th. Brad Keselowski 18th. Kyle Busch 19th. And Eric Almirola is 20th. 21st is Michael McDowell. Alex Bowman 22nd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 23rd. Austin Dillon 24th. 25th for Carson Hocevar. Chase Briscoe 26th. Harrison Burton 27th. Ty Gillen 28th. 29th place for Austin Cindric. J.J. Alien 30th. A.J. Allmendinger 31st. His teammate Justin Haley behind him in 32nd. Corey LaJoie at 33rd. Ty Dillon 34th. B.J. McLeod 35th. And Ryan Newman rounds out the 36-car field today. Ryan Blaney just passed Denny Hamlin to break into the top 10 for the first time today. So now all the Championship 4 drivers are running top 10. Bell just ahead of him in the 9th place position currently. Larson's dropped back to 5th. After qualifying in 3rd place, and William Byron, of course, leading the way still. Both in the race and the championship hunt, Kevin Harvick in his final career start, once again still in 2nd place, was about 1 second off the race lead from Byron prior to that commercial break. We'll see if that'll still be the case. Larson kind of moving backwards a little bit. Byron maintaining. Can't really go anywhere but backwards, so he's doing a good job holding on to the lead. And Byron has led every lap so far in the race today, as we are caution-free to this point. Of course, Willie B qualified on the pole, and we are currently 54 laps in. 6 to go in Stage 1. Stages 2 and 3 will be a little bit longer. Twice the length longer, in fact, in Stages 2 and 3, so there will be a green flag pit stop to be had if we don't get any cautions in those stages. Harvick is now just 0.4 of a second off race leader William Byron and closing in the bottom groove. Byron up on the outside lane, but Harvick making a lot of time up on the 24. See if Harvick goes to the bottom in turns 1 and 2, and he does. Surprised Harvick can run the bottom as well as he has right now this late into the run. We're not able to see exactly how much tire fall-up there's been over the course of the run with the lap times not up on our screen yet. Ross Chastain currently making a pass for 3rd place on Bubba Wallace. Chastain finished 3rd in this race a season ago. Was in the Championship 4 last year. Not the case this year. It was bounced out in the round of 12. Wallace looking back to the inside, but not going to be able to get underneath them through turns 1 and 2. Acceleration win there for the one of Chastain. Lap car got in the way of Kevin Harvick off turn 2. May have lost a car length or so to Byron. Couldn't pull all the way down to the bottom as a result of that in turns 3 and 4 as well. Had to drive the middle groove. He's got a couple more laps to try to get around him to win this first stage. But Harvick very competitive here, trying to go out with a bang. I can't really name you the last driver who won their final career NASCAR Cup race. By my recollection, Harvick might be the first to do so if he could do that today. You guys will have to let me know in the chat if somebody else has done it before. Maybe they'll state it over the NBC broadcast over the course of the race. We're having a good send-off right now and a good start. He's within about 2 car lengths of William Byron as the leaders work through lap traffic. Chastain also running lap times faster than the 24. Harvick looking to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Byron up near the wall, diamonds the corner off. And a continuation of that has to deal with the dirty air of the lap traffic in the outside lane in front of him. Harvick at least in clean air in turns 1 and 2 with running the bottom. Looks like Gillen, who is the last car in the lead lap, goes back to the outside again. Harvick closer to getting to the inside of Byron off turn 4 that time, but still couldn't quite get there. 38 car still going to be in the way of the 24 through turns 1 and 2. Byron trying to hold on to that track position to the end of the stage as well. Harvick on the inside. This is the final lap of stage 1. Off turn 2, Harvick pulls in line behind Byron. Car length behind getting into turn 3. He's going to drive it in deep. Byron goes to the bottom to protect, and he'll be able to hold on. Harvick going to slide up. Chastain closing in on him pretty fast off turn 2, but can't get there in time. William Byron wins stage 1 at Phoenix. Kevin Harvick second. Ross Chastain third. Bubba Wallace fourth. And Kyle Larson fifth. Sixth place finish in the stage for... waiting for the leaderboard to update here. Yeah, we didn't even see it. The leaderboard isn't even working on our end either, so unaware exactly how 6th through 10th ended up through that stage. And try logging out of NASCAR.com and logging back in again. We'll have our first pit stops of the race coming up on the other side of the commercial break. We'll stay right here on the channel for right now. Still not working. Now, for some reason, it's showing the Craftsman Truck Series Championship from 2 nights ago with no leaderboard because the cars aren't on the track. The trucks, I should say, aren't on the track. Stinks that this is the case again on NASCAR.com, but it is the best leaderboard available online to show you guys throughout the course of the race when it works. Unfortunately, from time to time, it does what it's doing today, and it's not working. And stinks that we can't show you the actual full data and analysis. There was no issues with it at all this weekend through the Trucker Xfinity race until today's Cup race. It will become available for us at some point in time. Again, we've had this in the past, usually by the midway point in the race. It is fully available and working 100%, but just not the case right now. So continue our live commentary coverage. 6th through 10th, Chris Buescher 6th, Martin Truex Jr. 7th, Eric Jones 8th, Christopher Bell 9th, and Ryan Blaney 10th. Thanks for that, Arena Sarah in the chat. Working in Norway? I mean, it would probably work on my phone. The problem is I can't show that to you guys, but at least I'd have something during the commercial breaks. The problem is if I do that, I also have to log out of Hulu, which I'm watching the race on right now, so that wouldn't go very well. I would imagine pit road is going to be open this time by. And I imagine the entire field will be working their way to pit road. Well, contact there between Austin Cindric and I couldn't tell who it was to his outside. Maybe Austin Dillon. And almost sideswiped Kyle Larson, who was 3 wide underneath them in the late going of stage 1, trying to get around those 2 lap cars to his outside. Yep, pit road is open this time. The leaders are coming in.
Speed penalties here in March.
Yeah, that's the longest pit road in the whole circuit. I mean, look at it. They enter off turn 2. They don't exit until off turn 4. They run nearly a half a lap on pit road, Kim.
And for Ryan Blaney, we heard it, no rear grip. He said the entry is really bad. He's looser into 3 than into 1, but similar problem both ends. Crew chief Jonathan Hassler said we'll tighten you up, maybe a 1 change. And he said probably needs more than that, but we can start there, Dave.
Tire carrier Jake Holmes has a wrench in his teeth. That'll adjust the chassis. Air pressure as well. Loose in, Marty.
So Kyle Larson wound up falling back to 5th, Dave, and he said it actually wasn't terrible at the end of the run, but he speed. I can't take advantage of it. You need to help my exit, Parker.
Already William Byron at the bottom right of your screen gets into his pit stall finder. He was building loose as well on the entry and the exit of the corners. They can forfeit your tires and fuel. And 2014 will let them off first.
Byron wins the race off pit road with that number 1 pit box, but Ryan Blaney of the Championship 4 drivers had the fastest pit road time, timing in at 9.7 seconds. He gained the most spots of those in the top 10, just 2 positions gained, but better than nothing there for Blaney. Picking up from 10th to 8th to begin stage 2 here today at Phoenix. That is the 9th stage win of the season for William Byron, with winning stage 1, breaking the tie he had with Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin for the most stage wins in 2023. See the top 3 on the leaderboard up at the top of the screen, though that hasn't updated post pit stops yet. Jones and Gillen were not second and third. Ty Gillen was actually the last car in the lead lap at the end of that last stage. I mean, the only thing I can do to get the leaderboard up is just keep logging out, logging back into the website as I've done throughout the course of the race so far. There's literally nothing I can do. It's out of my control. It's all on NASCAR's website. At least we've got the starting grid back up again. Hopefully this updates and we get the live timing and scoring here soon. While we wait on that, we'll take another ad break before the beginning of Stage 2. Again, you're listening live, KRC, to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race at Phoenix. Granted, Ryan Blaney was the worst in qualifying of the Championship 4 drivers, but he has gained 7 positions from the start of the race, gaining the most spots of the 4. Larson, who started 4th, moved backwards 1 position to 5th. Byron still remains in the lead. Bell has moved up a few spots from 13th to 10th. So he lost a spot on pit road. He had the slowest pit stop of the 4 in the Championship 4, which has kind of been par for the course for that 20 team throughout the course of the playoffs. They were originally pitting the 54 of Ty Gibbs for all the regular season. They were the fastest pit crew of them. They switched to the 20, which was the slowest pit crew of the Joe Gibbs Racing camp, with Bell being in the playoffs and Ty Gibbs not making the playoffs. But they have definitely cracked under pressure more often than not. Luckily, they were able to not make a mistake at Homestead, win a race there, showing that they are capable of having a clean performance all day long, but not a great start for them here today. Not a hiccup on pit road necessarily, but just not as quick as the other 3. Still have some safety vehicles out on the racetrack. Showing the initial start of the race once again. Not exactly sure why. We saw 3 and 4 wide racing on that initial start, and I imagine we'll see that on every other restart going forward here this afternoon. Field is doubled up, just working their way off turn 2, which is where the pace car will head to pit road. Front row for the restart going to be William Byron and Kevin Harvick. We'd seen the outside lane work more often than not versus the inside lane through the first 2 races this weekend. Byron had the inside lane for the initial start and also takes the bottom again here. The problem with taking the bottom is if you slide up the racetrack and you don't clear the car on the outside, then you're in danger of more than likely not getting a good enough run off of turn 2 and losing the lead that way. Or, worst case scenario, you're side-by-side still going into turn 3. More baking in 3 and 4 allows for the car on the outside to clear there also. Green flag back in the air. Harvick not as low down to the apron of the racetrack on the outside of row 1. Try to keep that angle on his corner entry in a good spot. And sure enough, they are 4 wide in the back half of the top 10 once again on this restart. Blaney trying to move forward. Christopher Bell with a dive bomb underneath Chris Buescher to the inside into turn 3. Blaney got by Buescher on the outside. Bubba Wallace had great acceleration in front of Blaney. Gets to the inside of Kyle Larson for 4th. Blaney up to 6th, gaining 2 positions there. Byron cleared to lead that lap at the line as he has led all 70 laps from the start of the race today. Larson still on the outside of the 23 as they run door to door. Blaney a full lane lower than both of them under the apron through 1 and 2. That has been a racing line we have seen all weekend. And we'll continue to see on these restarts, especially throughout the course of the race today. Bell gets around Buescher on the inside for 7th. Race high in the running order for Bell and Blaney. Larson back to where he started in 4th as he won the battle on Wallace. Blaney zips by to the outside of the 23, who has lost a lot of momentum in the middle of 1 and 2. Something might have happened on his corner entry there. He couldn't keep up with Larson. Blaney got around him, and Bell gets to the inside of him now on the backstretch, headed into 3. Bell looking to pick up 6th. Blaney into the top 5 for the first time today now. And the Championship 4 drivers are starting to move forward. Currently running 1st, 4th, 5th, and 6th in the running order. Highest average of all 4 in the running order at once so far today. And still about 2/3 of the race remains. A little over that, to be exact. Martin Truex Jr. to the inside of Chris Buescher now, battling in the top 10 for 8th place. Buescher holds clear into turn 3. Bell trying to close in on Blaney just a little bit after making that pass on Wallace a lap ago. Bell a little loose, jerking out of line as drastically as he did when he made his move underneath Buescher. Surprised he still had enough momentum despite getting as loose as he did with the rear tires, turning it off the corner to make that pass. Usually you'd see something like that and the momentum would sell off enough that he wouldn't be able to complete the pass in that next corner, but he was able to do so. Kevin Harvick still in 2nd place, which is where he finished very closely behind Byron at the end of stage 1. Byron really never had more than about a 1.4 second lead the entirety of that first stage, and they finished with just a couple car lengths of a difference between the two of them at the end of the first stage. Harvick definitely was getting through the lap traffic a bit better than Byron throughout the course of that run. It'll be interesting to see if we see a longer tire stint in this stage than what we saw in stage 1. Reason being is because the stage is twice the length that stage 1 was, but if they choose to split the stage in half, they could do so. It'd probably be the fastest way to do it, but this is one of the longest, if not the longest, pit road in NASCAR on an oval. So you're at the risk of going a lap or 2 down by pitting under green, short pitting if a caution comes out. That is more than likely going to end up ending your chances to win the championship here today if you're one of the Championship 4 drivers. So it is a big risk. But it could be worth the reward if they cycle all the way through. You've seen a lot of cautions in the middle of green flag pit stops this season, really since the introduction of the next-gen car with the single lug nut wheel. Seen a lot of loose wheels coming off in the middle of green flag stops, which has caused the majority of those cautions. Not as much this year as what we saw in its inaugural season last year, but still seeing it from time to time, even almost 2 full seasons in to this next-gen car. Blaney putting a lot of pressure on Kyle Larson right now for 4th place. Continues to look to his outside. Larson running the bottom, which is probably not where Larson would like to run. If it's anything like most of the other drivers in the running order, dealing with very loose conditions on this hot, slick, sunny Sunday afternoon in Phoenix, Arizona. Byron 1.4 seconds ahead of Harvick, tying for his largest lead of the race. See if they made some adjustments in the right direction for Byron to pull ahead to an even bigger lead this time. Trying to stretch that out, knowing that a couple of those Championship 4 drivers continue to move forward to Blaney and Bell, wanting to give himself as much of a gap as possible, in case they do get a little bit higher up in the running order here throughout the course of the second stage as well. No mistakes have been made by any of the Championship 4 drivers or teams thus far. Only one pit stop into the day. We are guaranteed to probably see 4 more, if not more, depending on how cautions play out. The only caution so far was at lap 60 for the Stage 1 end. No incidental issues so far, and if I remember from last season, I think there were only 2 or 3 cautions per incident in the championship race at Phoenix a season ago. One of which coming off the restart to begin Stage 3 between Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain, who were 2 of the 4 Championship 4 competitors. Elliott going down to try to block Chastain. Chastain kind of held his line but didn't lift, and Elliott basically turned himself off the front of the one. That took Elliott out of a chance to win the title last year as he remained the rest of the race 1 or 2 laps down. Chastain went on to finish 3rd in the race, 2nd in the championship behind race winner and championship winner Joey Logano. Logano in this race so far, qualified 17th, has been running outside the top 10 still to this point. Blaney the only Penske Ford in the top 10. And he's one of only 3 Fords in the top 10. He got 1 RFK Ford of Chris Buescher in 8th, and then, of course, Kevin Harvick for SHR in 2nd still. I'd say Bell's starting to put a little bit more pressure on Ryan Blaney than Blaney is with Larson at this point. Blaney was all over Larson for a few laps. Now there's about a 2-car length difference, which still isn't a lot, but Christopher Bell is even closer than that to the back of the 12. They're over 3 seconds off the race leader Byron, and Harvick was a little quicker than the 24 the last couple of laps, going from 1.4 seconds off the lead down to a little bit under a second off the lead at the line that time by at lap 83. Chastain also within 2 seconds of the race leader. Bell looked to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Couldn't get underneath the 12 at that time. Now it's showing lap 18 on our live leaderboard right now. Steps in the right direction, but we're not quite there yet. I had the starting grid on there for a while, finally, and then now we have a live leaderboard, but it is not, well, we have a leaderboard, but it's not live, I should say. So it's stuck on lap 18, as you see on our screen. Usually kind of refreshes itself on its own when it gets stuck like that, but not the case right now. So still having some errors there. Blaney closing back in on Larson again all of a sudden. Larson did not get off turn 4 very well that last time by. Stays to the bottom lane. About a half a groove underneath the yellow line. His left side's below it, right side's above it. Blaney going to the outside through 3 and 4 again. Just stays in front of Christopher Bell. Trying to continue that run going forward. Blaney had the fastest long run speed in practice of any of the Championship Ford drivers post 15 laps into the run. So we'll see if he can continue to close that gap right now. Full straight commercial break for those of you watching on NBC. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't yet. And also be sure to vote for who you think will win the championship here today at Phoenix in the poll up in the chat right now. We'll end that at the end of Stage 2. We're currently in the early going of Stage 2, about 100 laps left in the stage. And nearly 100 laps complete out of 312 total in the race today. You're listening live on KRC. Rebecca Chatlos, thanks for tuning in. It's like William Byron, Kevin Harvick, Ross Chastain, currently the top 3. Still back at lap 18 on the leaderboard. Clearly not on lap 18 anymore. What has stayed the same, though, is the top 2 in the running order, and Byron has still led every lap of the race so far. Can anybody take down that 24 car here today? So far, dominating start. We haven't seen a green flag run longer than 60 laps, which is the entire length of stage 1. So if we stay green throughout stage 2, it'll be twice that length. We'll see how much better Byron's car is and how well these Championship 4 drivers get in and off of pit road during green flag stops. The only stop of the day was under that stage 1 caution. Looks like Ryan Blaney had gotten passed by Christopher Bell during the commercial break for 5th. Blaney losing a little bit of time to the 20 and the 5 right now. Bell quickly going after the 5 of Larson, looking to the inside for 4th place now and 2nd in the Championship 4 running. Larson a little bit off the wall that time on the back straightaway. Not giving Bell a whole lot of room. Bell to the inside again through 3 and 4. Just can't quite get underneath Larson. He's so close to being able to just hang far enough on that left rear corner panel and side draft him down the straightaway to shoot it into the next corner, but he just can't quite get there. See if he gets good acceleration this time off the exit of the corner. Our leaderboard is now up to date, lap 93 in this one. So finally no errors with the leaderboard going forward, and that will stay up throughout the rest of the race. Also, Kevin Harvick challenging William Byron for the race lead right now as well. Harvick looking to the outside, trying to take over the lead for the first time today. Byron on the bottom, Harvick to the top, through 1 and 2, off the exit of the corner, side by side for the lead. And Kevin Harvick is clear easily into turn 3. Harvick out in front in his final race of his NASCAR Cup career, just under a third of the way home. Cool to be leading laps in your final career race. Kind of feels reminiscent of Jeff Gordon back in 2015 when he was racing for a championship. Harvick not racing for the title today, but leading laps in his final race at the time at Homestead. Now, granted, Jeff Gordon did end up running part-time in the summer months that following season when Dale Jr. was out with a concussion. He drove the 88 car for several races, but at the time, it was looking as if it was going to be his final career race, definitely his final one in the 24. Before Chase Elliott took over the 24 car for 2 seasons before moving to the number 9 car at Hendrick Motors. William Byron, when he stepped into the Cup Series as a rookie in 2018, took over the 24 and trying to get that 24 car back to its winning ways, as he has won 6 races this season, a season high for both Byron and a season high for any driver this year as well. Trying to cap things off, getting win number 7 and winning the championship today also. Gotta say, Harvick quickly pulling away from Byron over the course of this run. Harvick definitely got to the 24 car a lot earlier to this run than the last run. Stage 1, he didn't really get close to Byron until about the final 6 or 7 laps of the stage, which was just after lap 50. We're only at lap 36 at stage 2. Green flag laps right around 30 laps into the stage. Door-to-door battling between Bell and Larson, almost making contact in the center of the tri-oval. Blaney goes to the dog leg on the apron, 3 wide, and slides up in front of both of them. Taking the line away of Bell. Bell had to lift to keep it off the back of Blaney. He still stays door-to-door with Larson. They continue to slow each other down, and Blaney gets a 2-for-1. Excuse me, geez. A 2-for-1 special for Ryan Blaney to go from 6 to 4. Sorry for coughing into the mic there. It slipped up on me. It was a rookie mistake. Chris Buescher to the inside of Larson as well. Larson lost that spot to Bell. Buescher clear. Larson fading, and it is now back to 7th place. This is as low as he's been in the running order so far this afternoon. And with Byron slowly fading on this long run, Larson slowly fading on this long run, is that trouble for the Championship 4 drivers. I really do apologize for coughing into the mic there. Sorry for anybody listening with earplugs. That was bad. I don't think I've ever done that before. Took all season. Commentating every race, I don't think I've coughed into the mic once. I don't know what happened. I had something in my throat there in the middle of talking. Bill Mitchell, Regine Huddleston. Thanks for tuning in. over recent laps. Yeah, what a move by Blaney there a couple laps ago, taking a 3-wide pass to move up into 4th, and now is just one position off the championship 4 as Ross Chastain moves to 2nd place, passing William Byron, and Blaney's within a second of Byron now and trying to close in on the championship leaders. Clear down to the dogleg. Great move by the 12. That's a product of side drafting there between the 20 and the 5. They held each other up way too much. It was weird, too, because Blaney was starting to fall behind the 5 and the 20. And then his car came to life all of a sudden. Not only caught those two cars, but quickly pulling away from him. Chris Buescher, another Ford, also moving his way forward through the pack as he got by Larson moments ago and now battles Christopher Bell side by side through 3 and 4. So move Bell backwards to the 6th place position. And you're getting around a lap car to the outside. Continues to close the gap on William Byron. Technically his brother-in-law. And might see the two battle for a championship throughout the course of the race today. Buescher and Bell still side by side for position. Through 3 and 4, they've been side by side for about a full lap. Lap car got in the way of Bell on the outside. Buescher's going to easily pull clear in the dogleg for 5th. Bell backwards another spot. Martrix Jr. also closing in on Kyle Larson for 7th place. Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones just behind them. Your current top 10 runs like this. Kevin Harvick in the lead. Ross Chastain is 2nd. William Byron 3rd. Ryan Blaney 4th. Chris Buescher 5th. Christopher Bell 6th. Kyle Larson 7th. Martin Truex Jr. 8th. Bubba Wallace 9th. And Eric Jones is in 10th. Lap 104 at Phoenix. 208 laps still to go. Long ways left in this one. Blaney has caught Byron. They run nose to tail into turn 3. Blaney to the inside. Byron up in that outside lane. And the cars that run the top through 3 and 4, they're not all the way up near the wall. They're about a lane and a half off of it. It's all the wider the groove is. And really, that's as wide as we've seen cars run that corner all weekend. So the groove is definitely moving up as more rubber gets laid down this weekend. And it's interesting to see if those guys will be all the way up near the wall by the end of this thing. Blaney to the inside for the championship lead. And for 3rd place in the running order. Not going to get a good drive off turn 4. Still side by side with Byron. Dead even at the line. Byron again up high, as close to the wall as possible before Diamond cutting the exit of the corner off. Lap car in the bottom lane might have hurt Blaney in the wake of the dirty air. That's Ryan Newman in the 51. He'll stay low out of the way of the two championship leaders. Blaney didn't enter all the way near the yellow line that time. Half a lane off of it. Byron had a bit of separation, gets a better run off the exit of the corner than Blaney, and they continue to battle hard for the championship lead. And a great battle at that between the Penske Ford of Ryan Blaney, the Hendrick Chevy of William Byron, as we get closer to green flag pit stops potentially here in stage 2, sorry. Blaney all the way to the yellow line this time, sliding up and easily clear by about 2 car lengths or more on Byron off turn 4. Ryan Blaney to the championship lead for the first time today. And as they send it off into the corner, looks like they'll be headed to a commercial break on NBC. Ryan Blaney out in front. Right as they went to commercial, the caution flag is out for the first time for incident today. I'm not sure what happened, but it might have been Christopher Bell bringing out the caution. And the reason why I say that, he's dropped a 10th on our leaderboard. And he was in 6th. Round 5th or 6th. He was in 6th battling with Buescher. Buescher won that battle. Larson's now 6th. I'll wait to confirm that for when they get back from the break, but they just went to commercial as the caution came out. Austin Cindric in 30th will get the free pass. And yes, Christopher Bell was the incident, because now he's back at 29th. So problems for Bell, one of the championship 4 drivers running third of the 4 drivers in the running order, in 6th place, having an issue, bringing out a caution. This will more than likely bring the entire field to pit road, as they will be within the fuel window to make it to the end of stage 2 now. Kevin Harvick had a nearly 2-second lead over Ross Chastain at the front of the field. Bell no longer on the lead lap. Yeah, major problems for Christopher Bell right now. We'll let you guys listen into the race coverage so they can break down exactly what happened while they were on commercial break once they come back. Surprised they didn't cut away from the commercial, especially with that quickly into the. The caution was out right as they were cutting the brake.
And the first of the championship 4 to be eliminated is going to be Christopher Bell. As he got into the wall, he's been talking about brake problems.
Wow.
So we're on board. You could hear it. As soon as he touches the brake pedal, the right front rotor explodes. There. It looks like it's a flat because in the end it is a flat tire. The rotor goes through the wheel. The tire goes down. The 20 of Christopher Bell has no option but straight into the wall. We heard him complaining about brakes. The radio you heard was the crew chief coming back saying, hey, it's all on you. There's no more cooling available. And you see right here parts and pieces of the brakes coming off. Heavy damage day over. And then right here, look, this is important because see where that spark is? That's basically contact between the wheel and the caliper.
Dave. As he's right on the broadcast, we heard him say the brakes are too hot, and then he radioed back to crew chief Adam Stevens, I'm going to need brake help. And that's what Adam told him. I believe that was not on the air, that you have all the cooling you're going to get. The brake ducts are open. And he said it was on him. Unfortunately, it was close after that. Christopher Bell had the problem with the brake rotor, and they radioed to him that he's done. But right now, just sitting on pit road, they want to put a tire on it so he could roll away.
I can't imagine what he's thinking as he sits there, right? For the second year in a row, he's made it to the championship 4, and now the opportunity taken away with a mechanical.
Field on its way to their pit crew, Kim.
And that run much better for Ryan Blaney. He said, I fired off decent. I had more rear grip. The rotation through the center is still pretty good. We are definitely moving in the right direction on this car. He told us team 4 fresh Goodyear tires. So no, go fuel, Marty.
Kevin Harvick is for the lead here in Phoenix in his final full-time Cup Series start to the car, which is a little bit too free. They're going to make a small adjustment to tighten him up. Kyle Larson, who fell back to 7th, and his entry was way better. In fact, it was great, he said. It just won't turn the center now. They're going to free him up just a little bit, Parker.
After leading 92 laps, Byron came from the 4th position, the bottom right here. He talked about the cars getting more. There's something losing the speed in traffic. It's helping in the top 5 on exit pit road.
Pretty good stop for William Byron, Busher, Larson all gaining a spot. But the first of the championship 4 to be eliminated is going to be the 20 of Christopher Bell. The brakes explode on the right front, and Bell's championship hopes go up in fire.
Well, there you have it. Christopher Bell was, unfortunately, the cause of the caution, and our first domino has fallen in the race for the championship as Bell is now done for the day, and he'll end up with a last-place finish as he's the only car off the racetrack now, as that car will be headed to the garage area. And very unfortunate set of circumstances there with that brake failure. They felt the brakes were fading not long before that, and sure enough, they ended up blowing out. Kevin Harvick wins the race off of pit road to maintain in the race lead. See if that leaderboard is accurate or not. 30 cars on the lead lap currently as well. Ty Dillon gets the free pass. Actually, Cindric got the free pass. I believe Ty Dillon might have taken the wave around to get back on the lead lap. He's going to be on older tires to the end of the stage. It does look as if Ryan Blaney lost a couple spots on pit road, and that was the case. So Blaney went into the pits in third place, leading the championship standings. Now he's back to 7th, and last of the 3 Championship 4 drivers that remain in this race. Larson jumps back up to 5th, gaining 1 position basically for Blaney, falling back. Same for Byron from 4th back to 3rd. Byron's had a good short-run car so far today. We'll see if he can start to move forward. And once again, Christopher Bell out of the race. Brake failure going into turn 3, hit the wall hard. And now, again, his shot at the championship is done. You can change your votes in the poll if you did vote for Bell. Means he will not win the championship anymore. You have until the end of stage 2 to do so. 152 votes have been casted so far for who you think will win the championship. We'll take a quick ad break and we'll continue our live commentary coverage before the next restart. You're listening live to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race at Phoenix on KRC.
Different paths. The most important thing, these wheels are so big, we've taken the space up with brakes. Very little clearance between the brakes and the wheel itself. How are they cooled? We heard Christopher Bell say, help me with cooling. Well, it's ducts in the front. You can't add tape. Now, the 20, he had no tape. He was wide open at the corner of the crew chief, and what the pictures look like, that feeds air back here to the brakes. So whether you don't have enough cooling, or what I think in Bell's part, you're just using the brakes too much, you actually can get this rotor. It goes from metal to red hot to white hot, and when you clamp it, it grows in diameter and it contacts the caliper. And when that happens, it's literally an explosion. This rotor explodes when he steps on the brake pedal like that. It goes through the wheel, the tire goes down, a flat right front tire for Christopher Bell. The championship hope's over. And you see this car blow the right front tire, and I think that he took the car up the racetrack into the wall. We're watching the steering wheel here. When it closes, he doesn't drive across down across the racetrack so that the impact with the wall will be at a massive angle. It actually allows the car to get into the wall as soon as possible to lessen that contact and lessen the impact for the driver. A lot of things we're seeing these drivers do, but great description from Letard on how that rotor can explode and fly apart. It not only is detrimental to the car where the rotor exploded, but all the cars around him. Parts go through the grills, parts flatten other tires of the other cars, so there's things to be concerned about.
And during that pit stop, Blaney did not have a good stop. Problem on the left front, went from 3rd to 7th.
Setting up for another restart. None of the Championship 4 drivers on the front row here. It's Kevin Harvick and Ross Chastain set the field to the green. Harvick on the inside, Chastain on the outside. Entire field, for the most part, cutting down to the apron as low as they can go through the dog leg. Byron looking to get back to the lead. Harvick slides way up the racetrack, and Chastain's going to get out in front of him off turn 2. First time Chastain leads in the race. 5 wide off turn 2. Just outside the top 10, around Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece. Eric Jones in the mix. Contact with Busch into Briscoe. Briscoe slides up into his teammate Preece. Still 5 wide off the exit of turn 4. The 14 and the 41 lost a lot of time after that contact from the 8. Everybody was just trying to get organized. They're still 5 wide at the very back of the pack on the second lap into turns 1 and 2. Definitely the craziest restart we've seen so far today. Chris Buescher battles side by side for 3rd place with William Byron. They're still 3 wide back there. My goodness. They cannot get organized in that hornet's nest of race cars. 3 by 3 by 3 through the middle of the pack still. Clean at the front for Ross Chastain as he has a 4-car length advantage over Harvick into turn 1, 3rd lap following the restart. Martin Truex Jr. out of nowhere, peeking himself into the top 5 in 5th. Chasing down Byron and Buescher. Byron continues to battle Buescher side by side. The longer he stays side by side, Larson and Blaney might be closing in. Blaney had the better long-run car of the 24 and the 5 that definitely faded throughout the course of that last run. How far back are these Championship 4 drivers going to continue to run throughout the course of this race today? They're all in the back half of the top 10 except for Byron, who is in 4th. But he's about to get passed by Truex here, with Truex putting pressure on the 24 car for that 4th place position. Just under halfway through stage 2. Lap 120 of 312. Ross Chastain setting the pace, 0.4 of a second ahead of Kevin Harvick, 0.9 of a second ahead of Chris Buescher in 3rd. William Byron 1.2 seconds back in 4th, and Mark Truex Jr. 1.6 seconds off the lead at 5th. There's your top 5 as of right now. All single file through about the top 10 positions. Denny Hamlin pulled out a line off turn 2, looking to the inside of Suarez, 4/10. Kevin Harvick trying to get back to the lead after Chastain took him to school on the outside. Harvick definitely slipped a little bit off that bottom lane getting into turn 1, which obviously costed him the lead, but luckily he was still able to hold on to 2nd. If you're just tuning in for the first time, wondering where the Championship 4 drivers are at right now, Byron leading the way of them in 4th. Kyle Larson is 6th. Ryan Blaney 7th after Blaney was in 3rd prior to that caution coming out. It was the first caution for incident today. Who was it, you might ask? Well, it was the 4th Championship 4 driver, Christopher Bell, who had a brake failure going into turn 3. Compacted the outside wall hard. He's the only driver out of the race today. He'll be relegated to a last place finish. So now the race for the title is down to 3, about a third of the way home. We'll see if we have any more brake issues as the race continues on, especially out of that Toyota camp, which is obviously the manufacturer Christopher Bell has. See if there's any developing issues with the 19, 11, or 54 out of the Joe Gibbs camp the rest of the way. Kevin Harvick is starting to reel Chastain back in. And he's moved up a little bit higher through turns 1 and 2 in his way of trying to make that ground back up again. Chris Buescher also closing in. Buescher was noticeably very fast towards the end of stage 1, and then that beginning portion of stage 2 before the caution came out, he drove himself into the top 5. Now up to 3rd following the restart and pit stops that we just saw moments ago. And Chris Buescher is also trying to win another race for the season's out. Impressive year thus far to make it to the round of 8 of the playoffs for Buescher. Looking at a top 10 points finish, the way things are going. Coming into the race, he actually sits 8th in points. Not far behind his teammate Keselowski. Brad, starting towards the back of the field, has made his way up to 12th after dropping to the rear for the start after missing qualifying yesterday. He's not at the track at all. At the hospital with his wife after the birth of their kid. Good run, though, for Keselowski despite the non-track activity for him yesterday. Eric Almirola also potentially in his final start, at least for his NASCAR Cup Series career full-time. He will not be in the 10 car after this season. That was announced before last weekend's race at Martinsville. Had a great run last week, finishing 2nd towards the end of his career, and Kevin Harvick, his teammate in his final career race today, running 2nd as well. So good to see both those SHR drivers going out on top. Almirola currently sits in 18th. Lap 128. Just past halfway through stage 2 now. Blaney's been very close behind Larson. And here's an interview with Christopher Bell outside of the Infield Care Center.
Were you surprised with that brake issue? Were you driving the car in such a way that you knew it was possibly going to happen?
Well, I mean, that was my first time I've ever exploded a rotor in my career. So, yeah, I was surprised, but, early on in the race, I had a little bit of... And the second run, it just kept getting worse and worse. So, I don't know, just obviously a disappointing way to end, but super, super proud of this 20 team. All of our partners that do all the dream to be in the Final Four is something that we're really proud of.
There was no sign of it yesterday in practice?
Not from my standpoint in the car, no.
How will you look back at this, Christopher? You're out so soon from a championship possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it stings to not have the shot at the end of it. Obviously, we were all four really, really close, and we all four showed strengths at different times. So I think it's going to be a great championship race, and whoever stays is going to be well deserved.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. I can't imagine what the interview has to be like to give. He stood there, he answered multiple questions. looked right at the camera. I mean, I know it wasn't his year last year, and once again, disappointment this year. His talent is clear. What he can do behind the wheel, year in and year out, week in and week out, he's going to have his year, and I think treating an interview like that guy says a lot about who he is and his character.
He'll be here again, and he is a exceptionally talented race car driver. Had a frustrating year, but they rallied and had some really key moments, and he'll build on that. It's hard for him to see that today. But when he looks back at this in his career, he will recognize that it was part of the growing process, and it'll only make him tougher.
The other championship 4 contenders, Byron, again running 4th. Larson is 6th, and Blaney is 7th. You see the yellow line under their name. Those are the 4 drivers still fighting for the title. As we look back from Larson's HendrickCars.com onboard camera. And we've seen Blaney put the pressure on Larson, and now running different lines, trying to find a way around.
Larson's car has been great, in the short run, not fantastic, but able to maintain. If he gets the track position on the other 2 championship contenders, I think he can keep it in a short sprint. Found to help this car on the long run. It's not been good the first couple of rounds, 3 tires. Haven't made the changes to try to keep this car where it needs to be. Issues right here with the 2. Looks like the 2 of Centerkins made contact with the right rear.
The wheel looks like it's about to come off on this 2.
I think he's got a broken toe link, or the tire itself is trying to come off. Look at the contact there with the right rear. Let's see here. He's sideways, coming to the start-finish line off turn 4. Contact with the right rear. More contact right there. Just trying real hard. He struggled today. He did not have the speed. It's been a frustrating year. Just trying to make something happen, and back in the car came around, smacked the wall of damage. Broke the toe link on that car. And he's on pit road to get those repairs. And here's the 19 of Truex trying to get around Byron on the inside. Byron used that high line and the momentum to keep that position.
Truex trying the shortest way around the track again and gets to the door of the 24. But unable to complete the pass as they go through the dog leg and down into turn 1. Now he clears him.
Byron lets him take that position down into the corner. And now the championship 3 over 5th, 6th, and 7th.
And once again, Byron seems to be coming back to his competitors. I want to take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap. And William Byron turned it on lap 3, completing a lap around this 1-mile oval at just over 129 miles per hour on average. Chastain still out in front. Then it's Harvick, Buscher, Truex Jr., and William Byron, the first of the Champ 4s. We ride along with his Exalta onboard camera. The youngest of the playoff drivers, Parker.
Yes, Rick, I'd love to give you an update as to what the handling of that 24 car is, but William has been silent on the radio. And Jeff and Dale, I want your opinion on this, because I have this same tendency. You get back in traffic, you get focused on driving that race car, you go silent in there. Not talking about Rudy Fugel told me he's been asking William to be more communicative in the race car throughout the stages, what's happening, instead of just dumping a bunch of information underneath a caution. And right now, as he falls back and since he's been in traffic after leading 93 laps, he has been absolutely silent on the radio. No information for Rudy Fugel to work with. So what were you guys thinking of driver? Silent or were you vocal? I wanted the crew chief to ask me what he wanted to know. I mean, I'm concentrating on driving this car the best I can. I want to run through this next corner as best as possible. I can't be thinking about what I need to share with my crew chief. I mean, ask me what you want to know. I will happily tell you how the car's driving, but I'm going to be solely focusing on trying to get the car around the racetrack, particularly as I'm losing ground and losing positions. I'm going to be trying to move around and find a better line to run. But I know I need to give him my crew chief information, but I need him to sort of pry that out of me, ask me what he wants to know.
Did you feel the stare, Jeff? Did you feel the stare over here? I wanted to hear what he had to say to that question.
When I get my answer, a lot of crew chiefs going to stare as well. But I like to give the information because I wanted them to work on what I wanted them to work on. Key is not give too much information. They can only fix so much on a Sunday. You've got to decide what it is you need to be better, where it needs to be better. Give them that as the primary goal. I need this fixed. I'm dealing with this other issue, but I can deal with that. I need this right here fixed if you want me to go faster.
The 22 of Joey Logano, last year's champion, had this happen to him earlier.
We just saw Cindric get into the wall and break a right rear toe link. Well, this is the 22, kind of straight up into the wall. That's the entry into into one, the flat end of the racetrack. Pretty hard contact. And if you're saying, how did Cindric break the toe link and the 22 didn't? Well, welcome to what the drivers and the teams wonder. It's just so the angle of that right rear. If you hit it pretty flat, you got a chance. If you hit the front or the rear of the wheel, it kind of breaks that toe link.
22 still working his way around the track, was running 14th when that happened, but everyone chasing Ross Chastain now here at Phoenix.
The 3 drivers left in the running for the championship remain 5th, 6th, and 7th. We will go through the full field running order now at lap 142. 170 laps still remain in the Cup Series championship race at Phoenix. Ross Chastain has a 0.6 of a second lead over Kevin Harvick in 2nd. Chris Buescher in 3rd place, 1.1 seconds off the lead. Martin Truex Jr. is in 4th. And William Byron, again, leading the championship in 5th. Kyle Larson, another championship 4 driver in 6th, followed by Ryan Blaney 7th. Bubba Wallace 8th, Eric Jones 9th, and Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10. Brad Keselowski up to a race-high 11th place position. Denny Hamlin 12th. Carson Hocevar 13th. Kyle Busch 14th. Joey Logano 15th. Michael McDowell 16th. Alex Bowman 17th. Ty Gibbs 18th. Tyler Reddick 19th. Eric Almirola in 20th. Austin Dillon in 21st, Chase Elliott 22nd, Ryan Preece 23rd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 24th, Chase Briscoe in 25th. Todd Gilliland 26th, Harrison Burton 27th, J.J. Yeley 28th, Ty Dillon 29th is the first car 1 lap down. Justin Haley in 30th, A.J. Allmendinger 31st. 32nd place for Corey LaJoie. 33rd place is B.J. McLeod, Ryan Newman 35th, Austin Cindric 12 laps down after breaking that toe link. And then Christopher Bell out of the race in 36 after a brake failure. Again, he was one of the championship 4 drivers. Current average race speed of 107.49 miles per hour, 1 hour, 20 minutes, 51 seconds, and counting into the race. Just 2 cautions today, 1 for incident. That was for Bell at lap 108 with the brake failure, and then, of course, the stage yellow at lap 60. Ross Chastain, your current race leader, has led 29 laps to this point in the race today. William Byron from the pole won stage 1, led the first 94 laps before losing the lead to Kevin Harvick, who has led 23. 3 different drivers have led, 5 lead changes amongst those 3 drivers so far in the race. You're listening live on KRC. It's the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. We'll take a quick ad break and continue our live commentary coverage through the rest of the race. 91 likes on the stream as well right now. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't yet. Chastain extending the lead now up to 0.7 of a second over Kevin Harvick. J.J. Yeley's the last car in the lead lap at 28th. Not that far in front of the leaders. Ryan Blaney working the outside group through turns 1 and 2. Looking to close back in on Kyle Larson in the 5. 1 second separates Byron in 5th through Blaney in 7th, and Larson obviously in between them, all battling for the championship. Staying close to one another. It's going to be a good race to watch between them. It's also going to be a fun race to watch at the front of the field. I actually kind of like this, watching, kind of 2 races at once going on right now with the race for the championship and the race for the win, because it's pretty tight at the front of the field as well. Only 0.9 of a second separate 1st through 3rd. And, of course, Kevin Harvick, in his final career race, tried to go for a win. Currently sits 2nd. Yeah, those brakes definitely caught fire there from Byron Bell making contact with the wall. Ryan Blaney going up the hill. Might have slid the tires just a little bit too much. Although he still got a pretty good drive off nevertheless. does not choose to make the pass on Larson. Larson got to go to the bottom. Blaney takes the outside. And Blaney is going to get to the outside of Larson off turn 4 side by side for 6th and 2nd in the championship race. Blaney staying high through 1 and 2, just getting a better drive off both ends of the racetrack. Kind of chopped Larson's line off a little bit, although they'll still remain side by side off turn 2. Larson barely hanging on to the inside lane right now. We'll see if he can continue to do so off turn 4. Larson pushing hard, trying to stay with the 12, still door to door. As they run side by side for a full lap, Byron getting out ahead of him just a little bit further. He's now 1.3 seconds ahead of the 2 cars behind him. No lap cars between those drivers as well. Blaney finally clear off turn 2. He had a bit of a wiggle, still cleared the 5, who may have been a bit tight off the exit of turn 2 that time. Car looked a little bit more planted to the ground as he came up off the corner versus Blaney. Buescher trying to make a pass for 2nd on Kevin Harvick into turns 1 and 2 to the inside and does so successfully. Cindric back on the racetrack, by the way, as they have fixed the toe link issue, but he is over a dozen laps down and in 35th. So Bell's still the only driver out of the race today. We'll see if Buescher's got anything for race leader Ross Chastain, as he runs 1 second off the race lead. 32 laps to go in stage 2.
On the front bumper as he watched Buescher get by him, Marty.
The long runs have been very kind to Kevin Harvick today. Just a little bit too free, though, on this one. But he has not been out of the top 5 the entire day. And the longer he stays up here, Rick, you got to beg the question, could this really happen? Could Kevin Harvick win his final race? You can find some sports analogies, right? Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl and then retired. Jeff Gordon won his 4th to final race. But winning your final full-time Cup Series race, that would be uncharted territory. So Jeff used to be Kevin Harvick's teammate. The longer he's in the mix today, do you get the sense the confidence just grows in that 4 camp?
Oh, no question with Kevin Harvick. Running well does provide confidence. However, Kevin Harvick does not lack confidence. And even though this is his final year, he has been in position multiple times to win races and just hadn't worked out. He came here. I asked him before the race, can you win it? He's like, yeah, I think we can. He said everything's not going away, but he had a lot of confidence even before the race started.
I want to take a look at the progressive telemetry on Kevin Harvick. Shifting happening here. Right now he's in 4th gear as he brakes, goes through the turn. Reaches down, grabs a gear, and then right away back into 4th.
Think about the changes that Kevin Harvick has seen, the types of race cars he's driven at this racetrack. He's actually seen the racetrack change, the vehicles that he drives change, and no matter what, he still finds a way to always run well here.
How about the change right now in lighting, as far as you go from the sun beating down on the racetrack and right in your windshield as you're racing down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4, and then all of a sudden you're in the shadows of the suites here at the racetrack.
Yeah, right now that sun's not too bad of a problem, but as it gets lower and lower, just above that grandstands, it blinds you down the back straightaway. You really can't see what's going on until it finally drops below the grandstands and the suites, and you can see the corner and aim for your marks. We used to qualify at this racetrack around 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6:30. And it was awful because it was right when that sun was at the worst possible position to be able to hit your marks perfectly. And the drivers will have to deal with that somewhat today.
You mentioned it.
Ryan Blaney finally got by Kyle Larson and working his way up to the 24 of William Byron. It's been methodical. It didn't happen right away, but about a car length a lap, a car length and a half a lap. This 12 car, I think, is the best of the championship 3 remaining, Tim.
Until he was able to get by, and Larson was complaining about his car in traffic. Here's what he told the team.
Can't pass the traffic all day like this. We got him last time. They say, yeah, we'll get him playing. Well, I better do before they get their cars better.
And now Blaney trying to track down William Byron. Twice they've reported on him complaining about
points are real. Remember, he came in third, out seventh. So his frustration is he feels like he's done this work already. Right now he's doing the work again. And I do agree when he says they will get their cars better. You know, what he's saying is he has done this. He has been a race car driver for quite some time, and he knows every time he passes the 24, every time he passes the 5, Kyle Larson sees what the 12 car is doing, and he says, all right, Cliff, I need my car to do X, Y, and Z to beat the 12. You don't want to keep showing your poker hand all day long. What you want to do is pass them and then keep the track position.
These three continue to fight for spots as Byron holds the prime spot as far as the championship goes in front of Blaney and Larson.
I think Blaney would love to run that high line, but the problem with that is the 24 is running it as well, and you can see how it takes the air and grip away from the 12. He struggled on corner exit right there with the 24 in the same groove in front of him. It's forcing the 12 to run somewhere different on the racetrack. Particularly when he gets close to the 24, he has to run lower, and he's not really been able to make ground on other cars that way. So he's almost lost a little bit of ground here to the 24, the 5 of Larson. Keeping him pretty steady in the distance he has to the 12 car. So we're at a little bit of stalemate right here because that 24 is running that long run defensive high line.
So again, Byron, Blaney, and Larson still fighting for a championship, but very unique to NASCAR racing as while the playoffs are going on and this championship battle continues, non-playoff drivers are out here fighting for a win, and Chris Buescher, Kim, is looking for his 4th win of the year, currently running in 2nd.
And how about Chris Buescher coming into this race? He just had one top 10 and 15 starts here. Despite that, when I talked to the team this morning, they were so confident about what they brought here this weekend. Buescher just a tremendous 2023. Like you mentioned, those 3 wins. He's also got 8 top 5 finishes, 16 top 10s. All of those are career highs right now. He said the car's pretty stout. Just as that freedom across the center to drive off though, Dave, for that car is great.
Mark Truex Jr. started second, but then lost quite a few spots. He recently told his crew, you fixed the entry to the court, which was too free, but now I need some front grip. Also, his spotter told him when William Byron was moving in on him, hey, the 24 is making some time on you. The driver radioed back, good for him. Parker.
Well, Dave, you might have noticed in the top 10 from the start of this race and throughout stage 2 here has been the 43 of Eric Jones. A great run for this Legacy Motor Club team. And Eric, I spoke this morning, he said, this is the best car I've had a low downforce configuration all year. He goes, I can't remember being this fast. The team just recently came on the radio and said on the long run, you're as good as the 5 and 24 headies he tried to hold off Keselowski there, Marty.
Parker, talk about a team that could use a top 10 finish today. How about Daniel Suarez sitting just outside the top 10? A moment ago, had wailed about with Brian Keselowski for that 10th position, and he came on the radio and told his team, listen, I just can't get back to the gas like those other guys can. Way too free at the end of the run.
Only 18 laps remain in stage 2. It's Chastain who's been out front already 51 laps today. Byron's led the most laps at 93. He's currently leading the GM4 contenders.
Top 10 in the intervals between them right now currently sit with Ross Chastain in the race lead, 1/10 of a second ahead of Chris Buescher in second. Kevin Harvick in third, 2.7 seconds off the lead. Martin Truex Jr. in fourth, 3.6 seconds back. William Byron in fifth, 4.3 seconds off the lead. Ryan Blaney, 4.6 seconds back at sixth. Kyle Larson, seventh, 5.2 seconds off the leader. Bubba Wallace in eighth place, 8.6 seconds back. Eric Jones in ninth, 12.1 seconds off the leader. Brad Keselowski now enters the top 10 in 10th. He is 12.7 seconds off the lead. Laps 170, 142 laps to go in the race for the championship and 17 laps to go in stage 2. Chastain just 0.2 of a second now ahead of Chris Buescher. Oh boy. Big issue moments ago for Corey LaJoie, I guess, off the front bumper of Brad Keselowski. LaJoie lapped down, nearly crowded the 43 into the wall. When he turned down the track, the 6 was already there. Almost turned himself in the middle of the back straightaway. Everybody escapes through fine. And the battle for the lead is about to get a little bit tighter. Chastain did not pass the lap car of Harrison Burton in the 21. Has to try it again into turns 1 and 2. And it's actually not Burton's, the 38 of Todd Gilliland. Gilliland was the last car in the lead lap. Still is. Chastain struggled to pass him again, and now here comes Buescher to the inside of the 1. Side by side for the lead. They're going to split around the 38, 3 wide. In the middle of turns 3 and 4, Buescher almost makes contact with Gilliland, still stays side by side with the 1. What a battle. Splitting the lap traffic, still staying door to door for the lead. Entering turn 1, Buescher on the bottom, Chastain to the outside. Buescher wraps the yellow line all the way through the corner. Trying to slide clear, pulls up, barely clears the 1 of Chastain. And Ross trying to get to the outside. Sails it off into the corner a little too deep. Buescher is clear by 2 to 3 car lengths off the corner. And Chris Buescher to the lead for the first time this afternoon. Lap traffic now holding up William Byron for 5th place, allowing Blaney to close in on the championship battle. Each of those 3 drivers still in the hunt for the championship today, still within 1 second of each other. In the closing portion of Stage 2, trying to position themselves well for pit stops. 12 to go in the stage at the line. Great move by Buescher to get by the lap car of Todd Gilliland, and then the very next corner to get by the race leader at the time, Ross Chastain. Quickly pulling away from Chastain, now over half a second ahead of him. A couple laps after making the pass for the lead. Kevin Harvick still 3 seconds off the leaders in 3rd. And Blaney's been right there behind Byron, just can't get close enough to him to try to make a pass on him. He's been steadily between 2 to 4 car lengths behind him for a little bit now. Down to just 11 to go in Stage 2. Lap car on the outside in front of Byron going to cost him. Blaney closes in the bottom groove. Just can't get a good drive off there. Blaney's car definitely not handling as well as some of the other cars in the field that can run the bottom. That's why he's been on the outside to try to gain some time. You can really see his car moving around a ton. Blaney looking way too loose. The rear tires are coming around on him quite a bit there and lost time by running the inside. But in determination to keep doing it, it is not working out well for him.
They just told us, sir, they work on everything here. You're doing good here. Nothing to go here.
That was Ryan Blaney's radio communication with him and his crew chief, Jonathan Hassler. Definitely talk about the car being way too loose, as we saw right there on screen. That was the case. 3 finishes of second or better for Blaney in the last 5 races. Second at Miami and 2 wins at Talladega and Martinsville have led him into this Championship 4 race. A 6th at Vegas in the first race of the round as well, so 3 great races. It's looking like he was going to point his way into the Championship 4, even if he didn't win last week's race at Martinsville, but got the win anyway. Byron being held up right now by a lap car. Martin Truex Jr. for position, a full second ahead of the 24 yet. Byron looking to clear the lapper on the outside, and he does, barely. The lap car is going to pull down to the bottom if they run side by side into 3 and 4. And it looks like it's actually Martin Truex Jr. I thought it was a lap car. It is not. Truex has faded. He was a second ahead of him a lap or 2 ago. Not the case anymore. So as Truex and Byron battle for that spot, Blaney trying to close in again. Truex going to take a step backwards in the running order. Byron moves up to 4th. Blaney now 2 positions behind the 24, but still within a half a second. And now it's Blaney's turn to try to get by Truex late in Stage 2. Truex wrapping the bottom. Blaney a full lane higher. Truex struggling. Walks up the racetrack off turn 4. Blaney continues to close on the 19. Needs to get by him quick to not allow the 24 Byron to pull too far further ahead. And now they are starting to close in a little bit on Kevin Harvick in the 4 car as well, who has faded over the course of this long green flag run. It's definitely the longest these teams have had to go on a tire stint in this race today. From the time of that last restart to where we're at right now, we have pushed about 70 laps. Blaney to the outside of the 19 car through turns 1 and 2. Battle for 5th rather. And Truex is going to shut the door on Blaney. Blaney almost up into the wall off turn 2. Now looks to the inside of the 19 car. Can't quite get to the left rear corner panel. They battle hard enough. I wonder if Larson's going to have a chance to try to get to Blaney before the end of stage 2. Now 3.5 laps to go yet in the second stage. Chris Buescher is now out to an 0.8 of a second advantage over Chastain at the front of the field. Ford, Chevy, Toyota in the top 5. Although that lone Toyota of Mark Truex Jr. barely holding off Ryan Blaney for 5th. Byron's pulled away already from the 19 to the 12. 12 sends it into the corner. Almost gets into the back of the 19. Has to check up. Both cars went to the bottom that time. Truex trying to hold his positioning for upcoming pit stops during the stage 2 break. And again to the bottom. Not quite going to get there. 2 to go in stage 2. Blaney trying to get by the 19. Byron 1.5 seconds still behind Harvick at the line the last time by. Blaney 2 car lengths behind Truex getting into turn 3. Buescher just crossed the stripe, 1 to go in stage 2. Blaney lost some ground to Truex that last lap. Byron just got by a couple of lap cars that are going to be holding Truex up into turns 1 and 2. Blaney might have another shot at the 19 if the 19 fails to get by a couple of these lap cars. Blaney far enough ahead of Kyle Larson. Didn't really close enough on Truex there. Might have used his tires up trying to keep up with the 24 and battle the 19 to the finish there. Chris Buescher going to go on to win stage 2 at Phoenix. Ross Chastain 2nd, Kevin Harvick 3rd, William Byron 4th, Martin Truex Jr. rounds out the top 5. Ryan Blaney in 6th, Kyle Larson 7th, Bubba Wallace in 8th, Brad Keselowski 9th, and Eric Jones rounds out the top 10. Those are your stage 2 results. Again, stage points awarded to the non-playoff drivers of the non-championship 4 drivers. It just dawned on me I didn't set my fantasy lineup, and I really hope it's not locked. Give me a second to change that. I need to put Bell in my garage, unless he's already there. Can't remember if he is or not. Oh, he's not. It's locked already. No! Dang it. I didn't put Bell in the garage in time. Well, whoever's in contention for the Fantasy League Championship, your odds of winning it have gotten a little bit bigger. I had Logano in my garage. I waited too long. Bell's been out of the race for like 80 laps, and I just waited too long to change it. My dog's drinking a lot of water. Now she's going to want to go outside before the end of the race. I see it coming. I can see it coming already. Hopefully it's not ill-timed and it's not right at the very end of the race. Hopefully it's not at all, but I have a bad feeling about it. She is still drinking water. You guys can probably hear it in the background. My goodness, she's going to drink the bowl dry. She stepped away. Dang. All right, Chris Buescher. Once again, he wins stage 2. Check to see how many stage wins on the season that is for him. Just his 2nd stage win of the year. Actually kind of surprised by that. How strong he's been running since the end of the summer. Not as strong in the round of 8, but he showed up in this Championship 4 race. Trying to make it back-to-back fall races that a Ford has gone to victory lane at Phoenix. Even if it isn't for the championship today, both Buescher and Harvick looking pretty strong. Blaney obviously still in contention back in 6th. And we are waiting to see our 3rd set of pit stops in the race today. While we wait on that, we have the Stage 2 diecast showing. show it off during every diecast or during every stage 2 break during the NASCAR season. And because it's Kevin Harvick's final race today, I want to show my favorite Kevin Harvick diecast, and that would be from his rookie season, 2001. Obviously, this paint scheme very famous for winning at Atlanta Motor Speedway and just his third career start in the third race after the passing of Dale Sr. This is autographed on the hood. In fact, I bought it autographed, and then you can see that it is his rookie card, not only based off the paint scheme that you guys know, but the rookie stripes on the back of the card as well, indicating that a driver is in its first season. So there it is. Very clean paint scheme. I've always liked the white Kevin Harvick scheme. I actually kind of like his 2002 scheme just a little bit better with the black and the white. I think it pops a little bit better, but needless to say, I've always kind of liked the scheme, even though it looks basic, and I think a lot of other NASCAR fans like it too. Leaders on pit road once again.
And no major complaints or changes for Chris Buescher. That stage 200 reset. There was a time it was insecure on entry, but overall pretty good. They'll take 4 fresh Goodyear tires, snug low fuel. You see Ryan Blaney top right. He said it was back to what it was the first run. You saw that chassis adjustment. Loose entry, loose exit. Center turn is a great. It is from the loose for them, Marty.
Just like in stage 1, Kyle Larson fell back to 7th. He said we lost a big chunk of rear grip at the end of the run. And he said the car just will not change directions in the corner like we need. Cliff Daniels taking a pretty big swing here, Parker.
For William Byron, every time they help the long run, it's hurt the short run and made him too tight there. The V4 Goodyear tires, snow throw fuel. We'll see what he thinks of doing this. Picture's been on it. They're going to get him out second there from 2014.
Big gains for really all the Championship 4 drivers. 2 spots gained for Byron, 3 for Larson, 1 for Blaney. So they're all going to restart inside the top 5 now for this ensuing restart. We'll see how it's going to go. You never know. This could be the final one of the race. We've only had 1 caution for incident so far. And we have right around 120 laps to go. It's our 3rd caution total in the race, obviously with the 2 stage breaks as well. Looks like Ross Chastain still won the race off of pit road. Chris Buescher might have lost some spots. Actually, we'll wait for the leaderboard to update just to make sure on our screen before I clarify that. Free pass at the end of the last stage went to Todd Gilliland in 26th place, so he's back on the lead lap after being able to get the free pass. And yeah, Ross Chastain wins the race off pit road. Chris Buescher, who won the stage, loses 7 positions in the pits, comes out 8th after winning stage 2. So he's got a little bit of time to have to try to make up. We'll take an ad break here. Continue our live commentary coverage. You're listening live to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship on KRC. 120 concurrent viewers watching. Appreciate each and every one of you guys that have tuned in so far today. What happened to Christopher Bell? He had a brake failure in the middle of stage 2. Those who have not shouted out throughout the course of today's live commentary stream, appreciate Mike George, Fox Wolf, Jeff Curry for tuning in. Easy Network, welcome back. Smokey in the Pot, thanks for tuning in. Brad Taylor, thanks for watching. Another Brad in the chat, thanks for watching as well. Eric Shute, thanks for tuning in. He was asking what happened to Bell. Brake failure for Christopher earlier. Sorry I'm unable to look at the chat unless I have, unless the race is on a commercial or something. But doing the live commentary for you guys as it progresses.
You see that? A sea of campers here in the campgrounds. Over 10,000 campers that started filing in on Monday to get ready for this weekend. I mentioned Josh Allen, quarterback for the Bills, and there's a tie with Josh Allen and William Byron. As a matter of fact, now when William Byron celebrates a win, he wears those oversized caps. And we've seen it numerous times. As a matter of fact, we've seen it 6 times this year where the oversized caps have come on. He said, well, I watched Josh Allen on Thursday Night Football. He was wearing the oversized cap. I thought, I'm going to do that for my celebration. And so that is why William Byron wears those oversized caps in victory lane. So now it's down to 3. Started with Championship 4. Christopher Bell out on lap 109 with a mechanical issue. And William Byron, with his great pit stop from his crew, has him out second.
running fourth, Kyle Larson, and Ryan Blaney in fifth. Let's get another update from pit road and Kim.
And Rick, for this 12th crew, a much better stop. The last stop, they lost 4 positions on pit road. This time, they gained a spot. The big question is, they're looking for the magic they had that second run. Did they make the right adjustments for Ryan Blaney? The other thing, Marty, keep their driver cool, calm, and collected.
Kim, what a timely stop for Kyle Larson and his race team. They gained 3 spots here on pit road, proving once again why they're one of the 3 best pit crews here on pit road. And afterwards, Cliff Daniels went around to every pit crew member, shook their hand. Larson said, amazing job, guys. Parker?
And for William Byron, it's been a championship performance by the driver, but it's been a championship performance by his pit crew. The first stop, they kept him in the lead. The second one, they gained him a spot. This latest one, they gained him 2 spots with potentially 1 more pit stop left. Could this team be putting in the perfect performance they need to go up there and get this team a championship from their driver, William Byron?
Field is doubled up and ready for the restart. William Byron going to be on the outside of row 1 this time. Ross Chastain inside of row 1, obviously being the control car. Kyle Larson outside row 2, right behind his teammate. And then Ryan Blaney inside of row 3. Kevin Harvick outside of row 3 after losing a couple positions on pit road as well. Went in 3rd, came out 6th. Not as many spots lost as Buescher, who went from 1st to 8th. Restarting in row 4 is Buescher on the outside lane as well. Green flag back in the air. Great launch for Ross Chastain. He's going to be easily clear well before even getting into turn 1. Byron didn't take off well at all. Truex follows in to get to 2nd, or at least to the inside of the 24, but couldn't clear him. Byron goes up the hill a little bit, and Ryan Blaney swings past the 5 of Kyle Larson off turn 2 to get to 4th. On the back straightaway, Larson going to look to get to the outside of the 12. 24 still on the outside of the 19, trying to hold on for 2nd. Blaney holds clear on Larson off turn 4. Still side by side for 2nd between Byron and Truex. It's allowing Blaney and Larson to close in. Larson all over the back of the 12 on the bottom groove. Blaney trying to play maybe a little bit of defense at the same time, trying to play offense and close in on the 2 cars ahead of him. Byron wins the battle for 2nd. We'll see if he's got anything for the long run. It's word the 24 and the 5 have been a little bit worse maybe than the 12 of Blaney throughout the course of the race today. We'll see if Ross Chastain can hold on to the lead. He kind of faded that long run as well when he was out in front and allowed for Chris Buescher to get out ahead. Buescher lost a spot in the restart, falling from 8th back to 9th. Bubba Wallace gains 2 positions to 7th from 9th place, passing both the RFK Fords. Keselowski back to 8th as well. Harvick remains in 6th. Once again, that is following the restart. The order of the top 10 with Chastain in the lead. William Byron 2nd, Martin Truex Jr. 3rd, Ryan Blaney 4th, Kyle Larson 5th, Kevin Harvick 6th, Bubba Wallace 7th, Brad Keselowski 8th, Chris Buescher 9th, and Eric Jones is 10th.
Tires, 12.6 seconds. That's 3 seconds off. Under green, manageable. Under yellow, you lose a ton of spots.
And he did just that. And so Buescher's now going to fight back, see if he could gain some of those spots back. Teammate and team owner, Brad Keselowski, just in front of him right now, has the 8th spot.
Buescher had a bad pit stop. Came out 8. They didn't lead the race, came out 8, trying to make that back.
Field spreading out as Buescher still on the outside trying to get by that 6, Kim.
And on that Chris Buescher pit stop, the reason it was so slow, they had trouble on the right front getting the lug nut off. So definitely a slow stop there under caution.
Those are the kind of mistakes that the championship guys are worried about, right? None of those guys have had horrible stops. Some have been a little better than others, but as this race winds down, we see many times it can boil down to pit stops.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, that's why qualifying was so important. William Byron, pit stall 1 of the championship 4. All of that stuff adds up. You don't know what is going to be the difference maker. So you want to make sure you have every advantage as possible. To see 3 wide back here. It looked like 2 wide, but that's because the 3 of Austin Dillon was so low on the racetrack. The 48, Alex Bowman in the middle. What a year for the 48. This is going to be one I want to put behind him. Missed some races with a broken back, sustained in a sprint car accident. I ran into him in the garage on Friday. He basically was like, look, you don't want to hang out with me. I have no luck. Anything but bad luck. If we're standing here, something could fall and hit us. So he was really looking forward to just finishing this year out. He still has belief in his team and in his talent. He's just looking for something to go his way, Dave.
And Steve, he should believe in his team, especially the over-the-wall crew today. Not running where he wants to right now, but each time he's come down pit road, they picked him up 3 spots, so they're having a great day.
Bowman and his teammate Chase Elliott, both after missing races this year, missed the playoffs, and neither has been to victory lane. Chase Elliott trying to keep a streak alive. Once he had won in the Cup Series, he had won every single season after that. But you see Chase Elliott now running in the 22nd position.
Elliott last of the 4 Hendrick cars in the running order as well. 48 and the 9 light years behind where the 24 and the 5 are, both in the top 5 in this one. Obviously, full focus in the Hendrick Motorsports shop during the week was probably on the 5 and the 24, with them being the 2 competing for the championship. Little over 100 laps to go in the race. Somebody smoking down on the dog leg. I don't know if that was just dust kicking up from how low that car was, but like it might have been Austin Dillon in the 3. Couldn't tell for sure. No major issues for anybody there. Eric Almirola is climbing up to 13th in the running order. Solid day. Once again, this is his potentially final career Cup Series start. Definitely not returning to Stewart-Haas Racing next year, and announced full-time retirement, at least from Cup Series action. So both Almirola and Harvick going to be out of SHR next year. Be interesting to see how that goes about. William Byron still staying within a second of the race leader, Ross Chastain, though Truex and Blaney not that far behind the 24. Same goes for Larson. Back to about a second difference interval-wise between the 12 and the 5 on the racetrack as of right now. Got to do a commercial break on the NBC broadcast. Once again, we'll go through the full field running order actually right now. Ross Chastain is in the lead, again 1 second ahead of William Byron in second. Martin Truex Jr. is third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Kyle Larson in fifth. Kevin Harvick sixth. Bubba Wallace seventh. Chris Buescher eighth. Brad Keselowski in ninth. Denny Hamlin in 10th. Eric Jones in 11th. Joey Logano 12th. Eric Almirola 13th. Michael McDowell 14th. Ty Gibbs 15th. Carson Hocevar in 16th. 17th place for Ryan Preece. Alex Bowman 18th. Chase Briscoe in 19th. Kyle Busch 20th, Austin Dillon 21st, Tyler Reddick 22nd, 23rd for Daniel Suarez, Chase Elliott 24th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th is the last car on the lead lap. Harrison Burton in 26th, Ty Dillon 27th, J.J. Haley 28th, Ty Dillon 29th, Justin Haley is 30th, 31st for A.J. Allmendinger, Corey LaJoie 32nd. Waiting for 33rd on the leaderboard. 33rd place is B.J. McLeod, Ryan Newman 34th. Austin Cindric 11 laps down in 35th after a toe link issue. And Christopher Bell, still the only car out of the race, will end up finishing last and fourth in the championship standings this year as he's in 38th. Take a quick break, continue our live commentary coverage. 100 to go in the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race in Phoenix. You're listening live on KRC. Insider Anus, thanks for tuning in as well. Jim Troyer, Sharitha Cooper, thanks for tuning in recently. Just over 100 concurrent viewers watching. 103 likes on the stream. Our goal is 150 likes. Gonna put an end to the poll in the chat. 192 votes were casted, and championship vote winner, I should say, Ryan Blaney at 39%. Will win the vote. 31% for Kyle Larson, 23% for William Byron, and 5% for Christopher Bell. So the fan vote says Ryan Blaney is going to win the championship, and if I was a fan, I would have voted for him just for the sake of voting for him. He is my driver, still pulling for him to win the title here. He's closing in on Byron after getting past Truex for third. Once he passed him, he is putting down some great lap times. Haven't seen the 12 this strong in the short run until now. Still less than 20 laps into the green flag run. He's within a car length and a half behind Byron. And looking to the inside, into turn 3. Byron, a groove off the bottom. Side by side for second place off turn 4. Battle for second place and for the championship on the line with about 100 to go. Byron Blaney nose to nose into turn 1. Ryan Blaney going to slide up the racetrack. Is he going to be clear on the 24? Yes, he is. Byron has no shot to get back underneath him. We'll see how much he'll test the waters into 3. Can't keep up with him. It falls back just a little bit in the dirty air as both took the bottom lane into the corner. Ryan Blaney in a second. We'll see if he can run after Chastain for the race lead. He's 1.4 seconds back, but the big picture here, Ryan Blaney looking to pull away. Byron with a big dive through 1 and 2. Blaney's going to get a much better corner exit. Really cut him off in the middle of the corner there, too, as he came quite a ways off the wall down to the bottom of the track. Kyle Larson still sits in 5th with Martin Truex Jr. ahead of him. But Larson is losing in the lap time game between the 24 and the 12 on a consistent basis right now. Although that last lap, they all ran within about 0.05 of a second of each other. Well, I should say 3rd, 4th, and 5th did. Blaney was about a full 10th quicker than the 24. And in fact, that last lap, Blaney was even a 10th quicker than the race leader, Ross Chastain, who ran a similar lap time to that of Byron. A little bit quicker than the 24, but not as quick as the 12. And we'll see if he can sustain this over the course of the long run. Still one more pit stop left the rest of the race. At least one more. We've seen about a second to a second and a half of fall off over the course of a full green flag run, or at least a full run that we've seen so far, which is between the 60 to 70 lap marker.
There's another pit stop is exactly what the 24 team told William Byron. The second Ryan Blaney got around him, they said it's 101 laps to go, and we've still got another pit stop. Stay locked in. He has been absolutely silent on the radios. He focuses in trying to extract every bit of speed out of that 24 car. They threw some adjustments at him to help it in the short run, and maybe that's just hurting this portion of the run right now as he struggles to get back up to the 12, Dave.
Parker, a few laps ago, Martin Truex said, I have a plan. I hope it works. He was running 5th. Car lengths behind the 24. He's got something near the line, and the handling is there. He moves around it.
Yeah, I wonder if the handling's kind of going away on this 24. Losing a little bit of ground now to the 19 of Truex. Truex kind of drives away in 3rd place. There's Byron up the racetrack looking for balance. So slowly dropping back into the grips of Kyle Larson, his teammate, running in 5th, just ahead of the 4 of Harvick. So a couple more spots in jeopardy for this 24. Byron up the racetrack, moving around, trying to find grip and speed, trying to be able to click off the lap times needed to maybe reel that 19 back in. I know that they have a lot of time, they have another pit stop, all those things, but if it does go green, that's the concern for the driver when he sees the 12 of Blaney driving away. It's like, yeah, I know we got time to fix the car, but I'm losing too much ground to the competitor for the championship.
I think the real key, Steve, is not to get a lot of cars between you and the 12 car, because when you come down pit road, if you come down pit road at 10th, you got so many cars between you and he, you can't beat him on pit road unless they make a mistake. So even though he's driving away from you, you still have to fight hard to keep other guys from passing you, Kim.
And Steve had a great question. Did they adjust on the 12 car to set it up for a good short run firing, or did they set it up for the long run? Here's what Brian said finally about the car. So what is the car doing to give Brian the indication that over the long run he feels like it's going to go free?
So if you look at where the 12's balance has swung, he's been a little tight in the middle, meaning the front won't change direction, but his real issue, as we rode on board lap after lap after lap, was those big corrections with the steering wheel on drive off, meaning he lost rear grip under power. So now he likes the car in the short run. Obviously, he's driven right up to second. It's closing in on Chastain. He obviously can feel the back moving around a little bit, so I think he's going to build free. But look, you can't change that it's going to build free. That's what these cars do. You can change the severity of it, right? You can't turn the volume off completely. You just turn the volume down. What I really liked was the comments we've heard Ryan Blaney on the radio yet today. And, you know, we heard Crystal Bell's sound earlier in this race before we had this issue about you had to peak at the right time of the season. This race is their whole season. So you also have to peak at the right time of this race.
He is
running down this one car of Chastain. I'm surprised and impressed by how the 12 has been able to drive through the field, through the top 5, right to the back bumper of the leader. This one car has been faster than everybody over the last 100 laps.
Blaney told us how the team is in sync, and those changes that they have been able to make throughout this race have put him into a position now that he's getting ready to fight for the lead here at Phoenix.
Oh, that lap car cost him a little bit right there.
Trying to get my Ty Dillon in the 77.
The ability that this change has given this race car is for Blaney to drive it wherever he wants. One time he's on the bottom, the next time he's on the top. He's able to move around, and that's really important because as he runs Ross Chastain down, Ross is going to see where Blaney's car is the best, and he's going to try to be in that lane. Well, Blaney can surprise him. His car is good enough to not have to be locked into one lane. He can go to the bottom or the top to make the pass.
Down to 89 laps to go. Ryan Blaney leads the championship 4, or the championship 3 in this case, with Bell out of the race after a brake failure earlier. He's in second, a half a second behind Ross Chastain. Martin Truex Jr. running similar lap times to that, and Blaney made his way to third, passing Byron a handful of laps ago. Interval-wise, between Blaney and Byron on the track, the top 2 in the championship standings, as we run, 3-second difference between those 2 cars on the racetrack right now. We only have one caution for incident today, and that was the 20 of Christopher Bell having a brake failure. So we'll see if we actually get a green flag pit stop. We have not seen green flag stops all day today. Stage 1 was short enough they didn't have to pit. Stage 2 was when Bell ended up having the brake rotor failure probably within 10 to 20 laps before green flag pit stops, so we never got to see him then. If we stay green to the end of the race, we are definitely going to see him here, and that could make or break a championship run. Right now, Ryan Blaney, again, setting himself up pretty good. Ross Chastain with a 0.3 of a second lead over Blaney at the line that last lap. Ryan Blaney runs in second. Martin Truex Jr. third. William Byron fourth. Kyle Larson fifth. Kevin Harvick sixth. Chris Buescher seventh. Eighth place for Bubba Wallace. Brad Keselowski ninth. Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 10. Take a quick ad break here, and we'll continue our live commentary coverage to the end of this NASCAR Cup Series Championship race at Phoenix. Battle for the lead into turn 1. Blaney to the inside of the 1. Lap car held up Chastain a little bit that last lap. Blaney going to get underneath him. Can't stay to the inside of the 1. Was really fighting the wheel there. Has to make sure not to burn his tires up too much, battling for the lead, knowing he's a couple positions ahead of William Byron. Still trying to put himself out in front, get that clean air advantage, and maybe even try to take off even further ahead of the field. Up the racetrack goes Chastain. Blaney to the bottom again through 1 and 2. A little bit closer to Chastain's back bumper the lap before than what he was that lap. There was one car that peeled the pit road at the tail end of the lead lap right in front of the leaders. I'm not sure who that would have been. It might have been Stenhouse in the 47. If not, it was Harrison Burton in the 21. So that might open up the window for green flag pit stops. And the fuel window is open from now to the end of the race, but it's definitely a little early. Going to be a big risk to pit if you're one of the 3 drivers still racing for a championship. If a caution were to come out, you get trapped a lap down, and this late in the race, your season's over. And he's still battling with Chastain. Just can't get around him. Fastest car on the track that last lap was actually Martin Truex Jr. in third. 600s quicker than Chastain and Blaney. Ran almost identical lap times to each other that last lap. So 5 1,000th of a second difference. Next lap at the line, it's about a 1/10 of a second difference, Chastain over Blaney. So Chastain widens the gap out to 3 to 4 car lengths into turn 3. This time by Chastain running the outside, Blaney more in the middle groove, not all the way down to the yellow line in the middle of turns 1 and 2.
There you go, a little bit of feedback from Ryan Blaney right there. It's good, just a reminder that you do not have to win the race to win the championship. I know Blaney was trying to pass Chastain. I can't quite make out what he's saying there, but he's trying to pass the 1 of Chastain. Right now, it's what can the 24 and the 5 do to counteract the 12, right? They're in 4th and 5th, which seems good, but track position-wise, they're over
3 seconds behind the 12 car. So with 81 to go, you're inside your fuel window. Now it is, how much are you willing to gamble with everything on the line? Coming around lap 240 for green flag pit stops would be very early, but with over a second of tire fall off, you would make the 12 car stomach ache, because if you're the 24 or the 5 and you pit while you do go down the lap, you will instantly be gaining over a second a lap. It only takes 3 or 4 laps and you'll cycle in front of the 12. So we're going to see which crew chief dares to gamble, Marty.
Yeah, how much are you willing to gamble if you are Cliff Daniels, crew chief for Kyle Larson? And see, here's the other dilemma for the 5 team. They go every side of the balance today, but exactly right. 2-3 the first one, too tight the second one. Now 2-3 on entry on this one. How fine is that line Cliff Daniels has to hit? And oh, by the way, when do they pit, to your point, Steve?
Well, so the problem about the balance, it's not the same for everyone. We talk a lot about speed, and I think the viewers understand that cars are faster than others. Other cars are easier to drive, and yet again, other cars are easier to adjust on. Sometimes it's like a strike zone. It's big. Anywhere you throw the ball, it makes improvements. You can move it around left and right, make the car a little tight, a little loose. Other times, the strike zone is non-existent. Half a pound of air, you go from loose to tight. Those razor-edge cars, those are the ones you hate to have in a race like this. Because now the decision Cliff Daniels has to make, it's under a microscope. If he hops over the balance again, that will be maybe the end for the 5 car. I mean, look at the 12. He was frustrated with his car. I'm sure he still doesn't love it doing around Blaney. But great speed. Run the one completely down, only 3/10 off the lead.
Yeah, he ran him down, but he's not been able to pass him. Really loose kid in the corner right there. And he's gotten frustrated with Chastain. He feels like he's taking the air away from him. If he could get by him, he feels like he could drive away from him. But Chastain is not going to give this lead up easily. We've seen Ryan's hand off the wheel multiple times in frustration, but I think he needs to remember what the goal is here. Stay in front of those other championship 4 guys.
You mentioned the sun earlier as far as becoming a little bit of a nuisance, and it's getting lower on the skyline, but it's still above the grandstands and suites right now. So in the eyes of these drivers, with 76 laps still remaining, seems as though Blaney's been able to catch Ross getting into the turn, but then Ross has been able to power away from him as they exit.
Ross is running a line that you kind of prefer on the long run,
And Blaney would like to be up there. I really don't see anything wrong with the one and what he's doing. I don't see him moving around trying to drive in front of the 12 or take his air away. I see him running the same line every lap, almost. So Blaney's frustration sort of surprises me a little bit, especially like he's in position right here to win his championship and closing in on one of the final pit stops of the day, if not the last one. And so their lap times have been so much better than Byron and Larson. I'd caution Ryan that hey man, y'all are driving away. If this stays green, we're creating the advantage right now. Don't get too worked up about the one car. I know you want to get by it, but we're creating a great advantage for ourselves as this pit cycle might start under green flag.
Just behind these two is Martin Truex Jr. Dave.
Give you a little Toyota driver update with Truex, the highest running of all the Toyota drivers in the field right now, running third. That plan that he hoped would work was conserving the tires, running a little bit lighter so they have more tire at the end of the run. Not so sure it's worked out exactly how he wants to. He radioed in and said the rears are wearing pretty well on my 19 car, but so far so good on the plan. He stays in third. He's been the fastest car by lap the last couple of times around, guys.
well, that's something I love to hear. Is the fact that, oh, here we go. We're Scott on pit road, Steve.
24 of the 5 chases of both Hendrick cars pit first. Now it comes down to the pit crew and the counter by the 12 of Blaney. Marty.
These 2 cars all the way at the very end of pit road. Going to be a long pit road here for the Hendrick teammates. Kyle Larson's in way too free on entry, and then he came on the radio about 4 or 5 laps ago, and he said, quote, not good. Cliff Daniels is going to have to take a big swing here to get his driver in the game. Time running out for Kyle Larson, Parker.
Right, Marty, for the 2022
14 win Byron. He says something for the first time today. He was just too tight in the center. You see the adjustment there. Rudy Fugle came on the radio and told him not much longer than just a couple laps later. The 24 to the 5 were the first to chip before the Blake. They come on pit road and he loses to the 5 coming on pit road.
A huge leapfrog by the 5 of Kyle Larson to get out from behind his teammate Ryan Blaney on pit road, servicing his car. You see the long, tedious pit road, the longest of the series. You see the one in front of him right there, so close for Blaney. Checks up a little bit to make sure he doesn't speed. They're leaving pit road on the top right. You see the 5 and the 24 on the map. Here we go. No pit road speed on board with Blaney. As we look up, we're going to see the 2 Hendrick cars, the 5 and the 24 off in the distance. Very well done by the team of the 12 car. They couldn't leapfrog the one for the win. That's just a race win. You're right there, you hear him. Did they pit? He wants to know where they're at. You're good, Ryan. Everyone's pitted. I've been giving them the settle in, 7 to go. This will be the longest run on tires of the day. Take care of your brakes. Don't be messing around with that one car if you don't have to. Kim.
And just a slight adjustment for Ryan Blaney. You heard earlier how he felt like the car was building frame, and also said his turn down off 2 was starting to go away.
I love it. You know, we talk about who's going to gamble. This is not new. This is what we've seen this year. The data, the information. You know, when I was down there in the pit box, it was you and maybe one other guy talking to your spotter, figuring out who's coming, and you'll miss a lap or 2. And that could be a couple seconds, not anymore. These teams have war rooms. They have so much help. It was clear that Blaney was just waiting for those 2 Hendrick cars to pit. As soon as they came, the 1 and the 12 came the next lap around. Now what do you lose?
The decision definitely was made a little easier for Jonathan Hassler to pit Blaney when they did, knowing that the 5 and the 24 pitted at the same time. I think the real question would have been of when to pit if only one of the 5 or the 24 pitted. Then there would be a differentiating strategy that not both cars pitted, so you kind of want to run long to make sure you don't get potentially trapped a lap down. But in a situation like this, if you were to get caught a lap down because of the other 2 cars that already pitted, then every one of the Championship 4 drivers would have been a lap down, so it wouldn't have been as much of a loss versus if you would have been the only one to pit road and a caution came out. So once they both came down, it was kind of no-brainer. You don't want to lose too much time on the track by the other car short pitting with a second to a second and a half of fall off. So again, a pretty easy way of going about it there for, again, Jonathan Hassler and when to call Blaney onto pit road. We're still waiting on the top 3 cars to have to hit pit road. Everybody else had already cycled through. Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just kind of hoping for a caution to trap a large portion of the field a lap down to better their race finishing position. But as we stand right now, as you heard also, Ross Chastain was able to cycle out ahead of Ryan Blaney still following the pit stop. So as far as the race for the win goes, Chastain 0.7 of a second ahead of Blaney currently. Ryan Blaney is about 2.5 seconds ahead of Kyle Larson, William Byron. So they did close in a little bit. Blaney's running faster lap times than both Larson and Byron right now, but they closed about 1.5 seconds or so of their gap down by pitting just 1 lap earlier. But obviously not enough to close in any further. If we stay green the rest of the race, that was the money stop. If we do get a caution after a decent amount of green flag laps ran, then the question would be, do you pit or not pit? But hopefully, for my sake, that as being a Ryan Blaney fan, that doesn't happen. It stays green, he wins the championship. I'd be okay with that. And a lot of you guys in the fan voting poll voted for Blaney to win the championship earlier at 39%, 31% for Larson, 23% for Byron. Of the 3 Championship 4 drivers left, would probably be hoping that Blaney holds on too. Whether that was just your straight-on prediction and or you are a Ryan Blaney fan, we'll see. Blaney got this 95% certain. Well, we did see cautions late in both of the last 2 races this weekend, setting up overtime restarts. Of course, that 4 overtime, wildly ugly, chaotic race in the Truck Series on Friday night. And then we had a 1 overtime finish for the Xfinity Series race yesterday as well. We'll take a quick ad break here while they're on a side-by-side commercial break. We'll continue our live commentary coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series Championship in Phoenix. .62 laps to go right now. During the midst of green flag pit stops, again, Denny Hamlin is first, 8 seconds 8.4 seconds ahead of Chase Briscoe. Ross Chastain up to third, 11.3 seconds off the lead. Ryan Blaney in 4th place, leading the championship for at 11.6 seconds back. Martin Truex Jr., 12.8 seconds off the lead in 5th. That rounds out the top 5. Pretty easy going right now in the running order. Waiting on Hamlin and Briscoe to hit pit road. Stenhouse also still has to pit. He is in 6th. Hamlin just came into the pits this time for his potentially final stop. Again, if we stay green the rest of the way, it will be the last stop of the race. Average race speed to this point, 108.56 miles per hour. 2 hours, 18 minutes, 51 seconds and counting into the race today from the drop of the green flag. Ross Chastain's led the most laps with 105 laps led. He's led 2 different times. Still waiting to take over the lead for the 3rd time once Briscoe hits pit road. Briscoe, the last of the leaders, still to pit.
Top 10 day for Denny Hamlin here. He'll take 4, get your tires full tight. They went as far as Chris Gabehart could let him go here to split this stage basically in 2s. They lap it as away. We'll see where he rejoins. He would go see in the top 10 before they went on this long strategy.
So there you have it. Denny Hamlin on pit road. So again, Chase Briscoe, the last of the leaders that still has to pit. William Byron has led 95 laps today. Most of those, of course, from the pole, winning stage 1 all the way through until he finally lost the lead just over 90 laps in. Kevin Harvick in his final career race has led 23 laps. 2 different times he was able to lead. He's still inside the top 10 looking for a solid finish to his career here today. Chris Buescher led 18 laps towards the end of stage 2, actually won stage 2. And again, just 3 cautions per incident so far. 7 different drivers have led at least 1 lap today for a total of 11 lead changes amongst those 7 drivers thus far. Ross Chastain just passed Chase Briscoe on the racetrack for the lead. Briscoe still has to pit, same with Stenhouse. They're the last 2 cars that still have to hit pit road, but at least they were able to cycle out ahead of them. Sorry, at least Chastain and Blaney were able to cycle out ahead of Briscoe, but again, Briscoe still has to hit pit road. Kyle Larson still ahead of William Byron, post-green flag pit stops as well, as we're down to just 57 laps to go at Phoenix.
He needs to be of passing the 1. I think the mentality is you need to get by the 1 and win the race with 58 to go, but let's make the 5 come get us. Let's not burn our rear tires off and fall back to the 5. I think he's better. I think if the 12 can catch the 1 in traffic or maybe a slip, he can drive by him. But to your point, Ross Chastain has proven he's got to take it over for Ryan Newman as the efficient driver who is just not going to give you the lane or the inch you need to get by.
He's trying to win a race. And you said it earlier, he's not doing anything wrong. I don't think he's doing anything wrong either.
Spy right there, Josh Williams.
Yeah, you heard it. Go get the 1 and the win. Push to the inside here.
That's a pretty good little corner right there. Almost to the left rear quarter panel of Chastain. Now Chastain's moving around a little bit, down to the bottom of the racetrack.
What a masterful job of Blaney. Going over trying the corner and just not happy.
He is not happy. We didn't even need to hear the radio on that one. As now he's down on the apron, trying to make the pass on the 1. Door to door as they come out of the turn. Inches apart for the lead here at Phoenix.
This traffic right in front of him, Ray, could play a part. It's going to slow one of the cars down, be a disadvantage to one of the cars as they're side by side down the front straightaway. I guess where Blaney has an advantage, though. He rolls the bottom so well. I just feel like that 51 of Newman is going to play a role in this one way or another. Going to dive out of the way there, try to allow these guys to race it out.
Blaney to the bottom again. Chastain keeping the momentum up as he runs that higher line, and Blaney just can't stay on that left rear quarter panel. Has to get out of the gas a bit.
Wow, that was close.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Blaney.
Blaney in the back of the 1. Here comes the 19. Martin Truex Jr. 3 wide for the lead. Chastain shooting back out in front, but Blaney now on the bottom of the racetrack, getting aggravated.
All right, Blaney's got a pretty good position on him in this corner.
Spotter letting Big picture, be smart. Wow, Blaney's in front. He takes the lead away from Chastain.
Chastain trying to get back underneath you, though.
And Martin Truex Jr. might be the faster car of the three as he's closed the gap now.
Almost contact to the 12 into the outside wall on the board.
51 laps remaining in the season and this championship hunt.
That 19 right there is bothering that 12 just a little bit on entry there.
Whoa!
Blaney way loose. Big bobble.
They're trying to talk.
Truex going to get by the 12 of Ryan Blaney as well. Blaney battling Chastain for the lead, allowed for the 19 to close in. Blaney got by the one crossed him back over. And in the midst of battling a few extra laps compared to what Blaney would have wanted, it looks as if he is going to lose second place now to Truex. So he's having to deal with more dirty air in front of him with another car for position up ahead. And now Martin Truex Jr. and Ross Chastain are probably going to battle it out for the win. As they do that, it definitely held Ryan Blaney up a little bit. He's 2 seconds still ahead of Kyle Larson. You got to hope that those couple of big wiggles that Blaney had isn't going to disrupt the car in the handling side of things at all, when you consider the fact that we still have 49 laps left in the race. Don't want to burn the tires up too quickly into the run. Larson not battling for position with anybody. Might be taking the tires a little easy right now in comparison to the 12. We'll see if he can make up that 2-second gap. Again, Blaney does not have to win the race to win the championship. We'll see if he can get it done. Couple of scares, though, when he was battling for the race lead there. My goodness. Truex on the outside lane trying to gain a little bit of ground on Ross Chastain. With the changing of positions going on, the top 5 now looks like this. So again, Ross Chastain up ahead 0.4 of a second in front of Martin Truex Jr. Ryan Blaney 0.8 of a second off the lead in third. Kyle Larson in 4th place, 3 seconds off the lead. And William Byron 3.7 seconds off the lead in 5th. 47 to go. On the racetrack, that last lap, William Byron was the fastest of the Championship 4 cars, 0.2 quicker than that of Ryan Blaney. Truex now all over the back bumper of the 1, at least getting into turn 3 off the exit of the corner. The 1 pulls away just a little bit more. And Roger Penske up in a suite, sitting with his hands folded. Yeah, the worst thing for Ryan Blaney right now, obviously that battle for the race lead cost him a little bit of time, but just being in the dirty air behind these 2 cars, he's just as quick as, if not quicker, and can't get around them, and they're trying to fight for the win. So they're not just going to let Blaney go because he's racing for the championship. The lap times between Larson and Blaney have been relatively even. Larson seems to be making up ground at corner entry, with Blaney a little bit better back in the corner up. It's William Byron, though, who is closing just a little bit, but Byron has to get by Larson quickly before he has a chance to even get to Blaney. I mean, the good thing is he still has 45 laps to go, so although it is a race for the championship at this point, it's not a sprint quite yet. You're still at that point in the run where you're trying to conserve tires. They've only gone about 20 to 25 laps since the green flag pit stops. Battle for the lead. Truex to the inside of Chastain, and a lot of lap traffic coming up in front of these leaders. Off turn 2, Truex slides up. Not going to be able to clear the 1. Door-to-door for the lead. Blaney closing in on these 2 now. Side-by-side lap traffic in front of the leaders. Chase Elliott's one of those drivers, of course, a teammate of that of Kyle Larson and William Byron. First lap car, A.J. Allmendinger pulling out of the way of the 3 cars ahead of him. Blaney again closing on the 19 and the 1. All kind of merging in separate lanes, getting into 1 and 2. Blaney with the undercut move, trying to get underneath the 19. And he does. Truex did not get through 1 and 2 very well at all. Blaney to the inside, looking to take over second again. Into turns 3 and 4. Can he slide clear off the exit of the corner? He slides up, and he is clear. The 19 can't get the cut underneath to get back to the inside of the 12, at least in the dogleg. More lap traffic trying to work themselves through. A battle for the lead between Chastain, Blaney, and Truex, with Larson and Byron trying to close late for the championship on the 12 of Blaney, who currently sits in second, 40 laps to go. We'll go through the full field running order one more time in the race today. Currently, Chastain leads, again a tenth of a second ahead of Ryan Blaney. Blaney in second, Mark Truex Jr. third, Kyle Larson fourth, William Byron fifth, Chris Buescher sixth, Kevin Harvick seventh, Grant Keselowski eighth, Bubba Wallace ninth, and Joey Logano is 10th. Eric Almirola in 11th, Kyle Busch 12th, Denny Hamlin in 13th, Eric Jones 14th, Daniel Suarez 15th, 16th is Michael McDowell, Carson Hocevar 17th, Alex Bowman 18th, Ryan Preece 19th, 20th is Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick is 21st, 22nd for Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott 23rd is the last car in the lead lap, Chase Briscoe in 24th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th, Ty Gilliland 26th, 27th for Harrison Burton, J.J. Yeley 28th, Ty Dillon 29th, Justin Haley 30th, Corey LaJoie 31st, A.J. Allmendinger 32nd, 33rd place is B.J. McLeod, 34th Ryan Newman, 35th Austin Cindric, and Christopher Bell, the only car out of the race, and of the Championship 4 drivers, will finish in 38th here today. The other three still racing for the championship, still going at it, running second, fourth, and fifth in the running order. We'll take a quick break and take you to the finish again of this NASCAR Cup Series Championship at Phoenix. Chase Elliott didn't really hold up Chastain and Blaney much. He let the leaders get by. Truex is going to get by as well on the outside of the 9 through 1 and 2. Kyle Larson still 2 seconds off the lead. Byron 2.2 seconds back. Blaney to the inside of Chastain on the front stretch, through the dog leg, looking for the lead again. We know Chastain is going to race the 12 hard. Can Blaney clear off turn 2? No, nowhere close to clearing. Couldn't even stay alongside of him. Chastain is going to be the one clear off turn 2. Caution is out. For the 4th time today, Kyle Busch is around off of turn 4 to bring out the yellow and set ourselves up for at least one more restart with less than 40 laps remaining.
These pit crews are going to have to go to work to try to keep this track position and potentially help their driver get out in front.
This is so eerily similar to 2021. Kyle Larson was running third of the Championship 4. He came down pit road, leapfrogged to the front, and it was the championship day for Kyle Larson. Will it match the same for somebody else? I say that because William Byron is now third of the Championship 4. He's in pit stall 1. There are just so many similarities, adjustments, drivers. Everybody has to do their job, but the 5 over-the-wall crew, this is what it all comes down to. What happened to the 8 here, guys?
Yeah, we've heard the drivers talk all day about how loose they are, and here it is. A-car Busch just trying to be in throttle. Back end just comes around. It came around quick. He was in the throttle, and it started around before he even lifted. It's surprising. So back to that battle. Blaney gathered his composure, went and got Truex, right? And now that puts a car between he, Larson, and Byron coming on pit road.
The concepts up and down pit road are so interesting on how they put their crews together. A lot of makeup of crew members who played professional sports, football players. We heard Dave mention it earlier, baseball players.
Under a microscope now, as this could potentially be the final pit stop to determine how the restart will happen and a championship on the line. Kim.
And pit crews have to be absolutely perfect. So do the drivers. Ryan said he fired off tight. They're 3 at the end, just again tight through the center of 3 and 4. It will be a 4-tire stop for Ryan Blaney. Parker.
At top right of your screen, you see the leader, Ross Chastain, hit his pit stop, just getting too tight on the X of the corners there, so he'll get 4 bigger tires and fuel there. Also at the bottom right of your screen, William Byron will pit from the pit 5th position. Remember, he's had the fastest pit crew in all 2023. Can this be the stop that they nail it and get him back up front, Marty?
Don't speed, don't speed, don't speed.
Kyle Larson team to get even 3 spots. We'll see if they can gain him a few spots here. He said he's 2 free on entry. There's a drag race off pit road. And we'll see if Larson was able to gain any spots over the 12. But look at that. Blaney holding serve in 5th.
Well, not the case. Byron beat him out of the pits. Byron beats Blaney and actually, Byron just beats Blaney. Larson beats the 24 and the 12 off of pit road. Ross Chastain came out in between the 12 and the 5, and there were 2 cars that took right side tires only, that being Denny Hamlin and I think it was Chase Briscoe. As remember, they ran that first run really long, so they only pitted maybe 20 to 25 laps before that caution came out. Eric Jones was the other car. So Denny Hamlin and Eric Jones took 2 tires only. Now, Jones, I'm not sure if he stayed out as long as Hamlin did, but Hamlin definitely stayed out for a long time. So that cycles those 2 cars to the lead, and Ryan Blaney's pit crew does not come out on top of that battle with the Hendrick cars that have been dominant on pit road all season. Larson, his pit crew, reminiscent of 2021, going to get him out in front. The only difference is Larson was leading a lot of laps in that race, lost the lead, and then got it back on pit road. Here today, he hasn't led for a single lap. In fact, William Byron is the only one of the Championship 4 drivers who has led at least 1 lap today. My bad, Ryan Blaney led 2 laps, battling with Chastain there for back and forth battle. But outside of that, those were the only 2 laps Blaney has led. Larson has not led yet, still doesn't. He's in 3rd. Again, Eric Jones and Denny Hamlin took right sides only, leaving themselves for 4 and 5 second pit stops. That last time on pit road, Ryan Blaney's pit crew, 9.8. Not a very fast stop for William Byron, but just having that number 1 pit box was enough to beat the 12. And then Kyle Larson, a 9.9 second stop, was actually a tenth slower than Ryan Blaney. So you almost wonder if Blaney was just losing time to Larson on pit road itself. Larson might have just been faster driving onto pit road. And hopefully there's no penalty for Larson, but kind of hoping there was because I'm a Ryan Blaney fan. A little unbiasedness there. Blaney's going to have his work cut out for him. He's had a better car than the 5 and the 24 on the longer run, and he's going to have about 30 laps, give or take, on this restart to try to get through. And the other problem is there's so many other cars around them, both in front of the 5 with a couple guys on older tires that haven't been quite as good, and, of course, Ross Chastain, who has had a pretty decent car today, barely holding off Blaney there leading up to the time of the caution.
Speed, and then the pit crew backed it up with another 4 tenths. We're not counting seconds anymore. We're counting tenths of a second, Kim.
That's right. That stop not great for Ryan Blaney's crew. It looked good, but between the 2 tire stops we saw and then the fast stops from Hendrick, they lost 4 spots on pit road. Right now, the crew just trying to calm them down and keep them focused for these last laps, Marty.
Coming down pit road, Kyle Larson told his team, "Let's do this, guys," and they delivered once again, just like they did in 2021. The stop before this, they gave him 3 spots, and this one, they gave him the critical spot he needed. He's ahead of William Byron and Ryan Blaney, Parker.
And Marty, this is the caution that the 24 team wanted just a couple laps ago. They were trying to pump up their driver with the car and told him we just need a caution and we'll get them. They believe this car might be the fastest on the short run. The driver was so happy the car he asked for no adjustments. We'll see if that 24 can muster the speed in the short run and get by his team at the 5.
All right, Jim, Dale, what do you like? 2 tires across the front row. They had to choose behind it. Larson chose the bottom, Chastain top, and then the championship car split behind them.
I like where Larson went with this front straightaway where you can hang a left in the start-finish line, make it 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide. I like the bottom.
You got 2 cars on 2 tires on the front row. The control car of Denny Hamlin in the bottom, trying to restart on old tires.
Yeah, and they might have a spin. We haven't seen anybody on old tires for a restart all day today. This is just a second caution for incident. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't yet. Road to 5,000 subs. Our goal is 150 likes on the stream today. We're at 112 as we sit right now, as we have 31 laps to go on a late race restart with a championship on the line for Larson, Byron, and Blaney. Bell out of the race. Green flag back in the air. Larson diving to the bottom, blocks the 24. The 12 of Blaney going to stay as wide as possible. Larson 3 wide to the inside lane on Chastain and Jones. Blaney up the middle between Byron and Jones. Is he going to get the spot? He gets by the 43. 3 wide for the lead up at the front of the field between Chastain, Larson, and Hamlin. Chastain on the outside. Hamlin in the middle groove. Kyle Larson on the bottom. Still 3 wide as they work their way through turns 3 and 4. Ryan Blaney, William Byron side by side. Blaney onto the apron, cutting the dog leg. Larson still has not been able to clear Hamlin and Chastain. Now he'll slide up. He clears Hamlin. Chastain still to his outside. Byron and Blaney still battle for 4th place behind Hamlin. And Byron gets back by the 12, almost squeezed him into the wall. Hamlin to the back bumper of the 5. Again, he's on older tires. Great power move by Blaney. Gets to the outside of the 24. They're going to have to split the 11, 3 wide on the front stretch. 29 laps to go. Blaney still door-to-door with Byron. They split Denny Hamlin, who had those older left side tires. Larson's in second, leads the championship race, and the race leader is Ross Chastain. Blaney again clears the 24, crowds him a bit. Byron trying to get back underneath him again through 3 and 4. These two have been consistently faster than Larson for most of the day, especially the 12. Blaney cut the dog leg that time on the 24 of Byron. Trying to gap him just a little bit into turns 1 and 2, and does. Blaney all the way down on the apron through 1 and 2. About a lane and a half below the yellow line as he closes on Larson. 27 to go this time by. Larson on the bottom groove through 3 and 4. Blaney goes up to the outside. Larson does not get a great drive off. Blaney is charging hard. Blaney cuts to the apron again through the dog leg, trying to minimize the amount of space on the racetrack on the front stretch as he closes the gap. Gets behind him. Larson trying to block, goes all the way to the bottom. Couldn't really go much lower as that pit entrance wall was closing in fast for both the 5 and the 12 as they battle for the championship. And the more they battle, William Byron in 4th might have another shot at it. Great run through 3 and 4 for the 24 car. And he is not going to pull out a line to cut the dog leg on Ryan Blaney there. Blaney did not either. Didn't get as good of a run through 3 and 4. Playing defense on the 24 of Byron widens the groove out just a little bit. Buescher to the inside of Byron, meanwhile, in the middle of the corner as Byron had to lift to keep it off the wall off turn 2. Buescher trying to get up there. Remember, he lost a lot of track position on pit road at the end of stage 2. He was a stage 2 winner, fell back to 8th. First time he's been back in the top 5 since. Blaney up a groove from where Kyle Larson ran through turns 1 and 2. Larson more towards the middle line that time. Blaney just a slight bit higher. Larson all the way to the bottom through 3 and 4. That's where he's losing to Blaney. Blaney's going a lot wider through the corner. He's able to carry more speed with the more progressive banking in turns 3 and 4 off the top. Battle for the championship with 24 laps to go. Blaney, full lane below the yellow line on the bottom. Kyle Larson, just above that yellow line. Not by much. He pretty much had the left sides glued to it. Similar to the way you would wrap the bottom lane at most other racetracks. Blaney within 2 car lengths of Kyle Larson, still 23 laps to go. Every lap has to be racing like the last. Blaney got close to Larson a couple laps ago in 1 and 2. Larson blocked him on the bottom, so Blaney's trying to build some momentum on the top. That's probably where he's going to have to be to pass Kyle Larson. And Larson being very consistent with not running the top through 3 and 4, and I think a large part is because he just doesn't feel his car is capable of running up there. Blaney's is. Larson mirror drive this time. Larson back to the bottom. Blaney again to the outside, looking to set him up through 1 and 2. Can he get a run off the corner? He does get a run at Larson. Down the back straightaway. Is he going to stay to the outside or will he pull low? Closes in. Larson backs up the corner a lot. Blaney almost got into him. Blaney looking to the outside of the 5. The 5 is still barely clear off the exit of turn 4. Blaney cuts to the apron. Larson cuts to the apron to block. And again, Blaney to the outside through 1 and 2. He does get to the outside of the 5. This time the 5 slides up. He's looking to take Blaney's line away. He's not going to give Blaney a lot of room. They almost touch in the center of the corner. Blaney with the run. On the back straightaway, Larson side drafts, nearly making contact again. Into turns 3 and 4. Side by side for second place and for the championship lead. A full second ahead of William Byron. Blaney clear off turn 4. Now he cuts to the apron. to block Larson. Larson didn't go as low as the 12. Awkward angle for Blaney going into the corner more so than Larson. Larson trying to carry as much speed as he can on the outside. We haven't seen Larson run the top much. Hardly at all, really, since the restart at least. Ryan Blaney's clear. Can he drive away, or can Kyle Larson keep up with him? Blaney accelerates a lot faster than Kyle Larson off of turn 4. 19 laps to go. Blaney with a 4-car length lead. 2-second advantage over Chastain, but we'll see. Larson closes hard through 1 and 2. All the way down to the bottom. A lane and a half to 2 lanes below the yellow line. Almost got to the left rear corner panel of the 12. He is doing everything he can right now. There is no saving tires. Every single lap from here to the checkered flag is a time trial lap. With the big trophy, the biggest, hanging in the balance. William Byron, 3.3 seconds off the lead, and he is about 1.1 seconds behind Blaney. Don't forget about Byron. Does he have anything for these two? Can he close the gap? He was able to hold off Chris Buescher. I don't know how much of that was Buescher just not wanting to push the issue with the 3 guys racing for the championship in front of him or not. Blaney about a 10th quicker than the race leader, Ross Chastain, that last lap as well. Blaney goes all the way to the apron through turns 1 and 2. Larson to the outside. Larson didn't really gain much ground there. If Larson is within striking distance of Ryan... All right, well, hopefully we are back on temporarily again. Ryan Blaney currently in second place still. Chastain leads 4 laps to go in the race for the championship. A 1.5-second differential now between Blaney and Larson. Blaney has been a little bit quicker than Chastain over recent laps, but it looks like Chastain is probably going to go on to win this race. I doubt Blaney's going to push it hard to try to catch the 1 now that he's comfortably ahead of the 5 of Kyle Larson. Chastain, if he wins this race, will be his 2nd win of the season. 2 laps to go right now. And if the race leader gets to the white flag, the next flag will end the race, whether it is the yellow or the checker. Apologize for that quick powwow we had there for about 5 to 10 laps. Kind of same thing happened to me during the Truck Series race. I will have a new laptop by the start of next season. I promise we won't have these issues that we have had twice now, unfortunately, this weekend. We're back for the finish, just like with the Truck Series race. Haven't missed anything on the stream, other than the fact that Blaney has just kind of pulled away a little bit further ahead of Larson than what he was running. He's 2 seconds ahead. Final lap of the race. Ryan Blaney again 1.3 seconds off the lead, but doesn't have to win the race to win the championship. He has finished second 3 races in a row now at Phoenix. He has 1 more trip through 3 and 4. Larson 2 seconds back, too far to have a shot into the final corner. And Ryan Blaney is going to win his first career NASCAR Cup Series championship. Ross Chastain is going to win the race at Phoenix. Unbelievable. Ryan Blaney is a NASCAR Cup Series champion. He won 3 of the last 6 races, 2nd or better in 4 of the last 6 to put a good stretch of races, a great stretch of races forward. Career high in the win total, 4 wins this season. Again, 3 of them coming after the 30th race of the season. Unbelievable. Bummer we had the power outage, but I still feel great. All things considered, that's cool. 1.2 second margin of victory for the championship. Ryan Blaney exactly 2 seconds ahead of Kyle Larson. In the championship battle, he finished second. Had to finish where he did, with Larson finishing third, Byron fourth. We'll go through the rest of the finishing order in a little bit. You'll get to hear from your champion, Ryan Blaney. We plan on staying here for the full post-race, by the way, as well. Post-race show will carry all the way through the championship presentation. Everybody in the field sideswiping Blaney's car as he works his way through. Ryan Blaney is a NASCAR Cup Series champion. Back-to-back championships for Penske Racing. The first time in history that Penske has won back-to-back titles in the NASCAR Cup Series. 24 cars finished on the lead lap today, timing in at 2 hours, 52 minutes, and 1 second. 4 cautions, 2 for incident, 1 in Stage 2 and 1 in Stage 3. Average race speed of 108.36 miles per hour as we finish the race under the 312-lap, 312-mile regulation length. Just one driver DNF today. That was Christopher Bell with the brake failure. 204 laps prior